Wars Time Show! The crew will fumble their way through a few noteworthy topics as they lament the doldrums of talking Star Wars when there isn't any Star Wars taking place. They'll dissect some new quotes from the cast of the Book of Boba Fett to speculate what type of story we may see in the show. Apparently, Rogue Squadron will be discussed again this week as news has broken on Patty Jenkins's other commitments. Matt will have some Crimson Dawn canon to enlighten you with from the latest issue of the Vader comic book, while Nick will discuss some new Star Wars Hunters gameplay. The duo will then show off some new collectibles to consider, while Matt complains about the downside of being a collector. Finally, the two will usher in this week's fan segment by reading fan responses to the question of the week and honoring the top 5 featured Star Wars artists of the week. Punch it, Chewie.
Hey, now everybody, welcome back to the Star Wars Time Show. It's Matt, it's Nick, and we're wild and crazy guys. Woo! Hey! I felt like, we had to change it up from last week. I was like Debbie Downer for the first hour or so of the show, so I decided to come out like I just got shot out of a cannon into a net. Here we go. We're talking Star Wars, or are we talking Halo? Nobody knows, but we will talk about something sci-fi related today. That is for damn Skippy. So welcome. We got the regulars in here. 1-6 was first. He gets a medal. Brando comes in second. He gets a ribbon. And then our buddy Tones is not working the back shift today, so he's always great to have in the chat. And he's already taken dumps on Star Wars Hunters, which we'll talk about later today. That is one of our topics amongst some magazine interviews. And let's be real, friends. I mean, Nick and I have been pulling on our puds for most of 2021 to provide some sort of Star Wars weekly content for everyone, and it's tough. The users, the listeners have spoken to us by tuning out, and some of these days, Nick and I are going, what are we even talking about this week? But we're here. We're going to talk some Star Wars. Our buddy Greg, he's back. We've got 2 of the wrenches in here. The 2 original wrenches are in the live stream. And again, if you want to join the live stream and you're unemployed, you probably can do so Tuesday afternoons, 2:30 p.m. East, sort of. It's usually like 2:35, 4:40, sometimes 2:25, so on and so forth. But come join us. If not, watch it on the replay, or even better, also subscribe on one of our podcast platforms and leave a rating and review. We cannot stress enough how important that is. Ratings and reviews, likes and comments, subscribes and notifications. Yes. Yeah. All right, buddy. So we got a few things to talk about. Some Book of Boba Fett commentary we're getting from Ming-Na Wen and Temuera Morrison. Really not much to chew on, though. But, we'll kick the tires on it, try to speculate. We'll find something. Blow some hot air. You never know. Hold on. There might be a little bit of the 19. Hold on. Drink from my big jug of vodka right there to get through the show. All right.
Nice.
So, Nick, non-Star Wars stuff. You can see on the graphic here, I've got the Master Chief up. That's right. It's Halo week. It's been a long time. I think, 6 years since Halo 5? I can't believe it's been that long since the last Halo game. But 343's Infinite should be dropping tomorrow. And if you have not looked at the release schedule yet, you better, because you may have to change your gameplay plans, because it is not releasing like a normal game. At least, everyone gets it at a midnight or whatever. No. It's coming out tomorrow on the 8th, but it's like a staggered schedule. I believe most parts of the United States will get access to it, I think around like 1 p.m. Eastern time. The official, isn't it weird, dude? But the official launch time for Halo Infinite is 10 a.m. Pacific. So do the math, and it should show up in your region. You never know. But it is not like I was kind of thinking like, hey, maybe I'll try to stay up to midnight tonight and refresh my
a couple hours.
Yeah, get my Game Pass version loaded up and get the update in and be ready. But no, it's not even coming out till midday tomorrow. So, I'll be a good little worker, work through the day, and then hopefully fire up the campaign tomorrow. But checking early review scores, and you're going, hey, Matt, you tell us not to listen to reviews, and you're right. You've listened to me correctly. And I'm not saying to go read the reviews, but if you just look at some of the aggregation going on, the people, the reviewers, the critics, the influencers, high praise is coming in for Halo Infinite's campaign, which has already gotten some good critical feedback on the free beta multiplayer. So I'm jazzed because, Nick, if you think about Halo, the franchise, it changed gaming. It changed gaming on consoles. I know some of you PC people are like, we had shooters on PC for decades. Like, okay, fine, but you guys in your master race, you're not the main population of gamers. So when Combat Evolved came out on a console, an FPS with a controller, it was new. That was new territory for, gamers like myself that hadn't played on PC for years, and the ability to LAN up your systems. And I think I was at the perfect age when Combat Evolved came out. I was in college, living in apartments. We'd get crazy shit going on with the guys across the street, freaking out our routers and opening up DMZs so we could play without LAN cables. It was just fun. The addiction of Halo was real. And then it continued into Halo 2. Got an even better story, even better experience. And then in 3, probably arguably one of the best trilogies in all of pop culture is the first 3 Halo games. There wasn't a letdown either gameplay-wise or narrative-wise, right, Nick? All 3 were pretty stellar. Story told and gaming. And then...
Yeah, I totally agree.
And then we get the resurgence around, 2012, maybe 2013 with Halo 4, which I found to have a very engaging story. You got more into the Forerunners and what the hell they were up to and how they fucked up the entire galaxy. And then 5 came around, and let's be real. It was still a good Halo game, but I don't know. I feel like it was the first time in my Halo career that the story did not kind of match the excellence of the gameplay. And it kind of ended on a cliffhanger of sorts. It was a Halo game where you didn't feel like there was a resolution to the main narrative. We get left with Cortana going batshit, Chief floating around in space again, and now we're finally going to get to pick up with that tale in Infinite all these years later. So I'm super jazzed for the campaign. I've been dabbling in the multiplayer, even though that's really not my suit these days, being a 41-year-old man. I put in some decent performances last night, but I still feel like I'm light years beyond the youngins these days in terms of learning maps, knowing where the power-up pickups are at, knowing where the choke spots are at, the good kill zones. But man, I don't know, Nick, I don't know if you've downloaded it because I know you're a Game Passer, so you've had access to it. And I believe the multiplayer is free for everyone, I think. Not even...
Yeah, the multiplayers will continue to be free, to my understanding. They're not going to pull the multiplayer back when the full release happens. So even if you don't have Game Pass or if you don't own the game, you can still play the multiplayer,
which I think is fantastic. Because would you agree with me, Nick, that probably even the generation under you, they're probably more concerned with multiplayer social experiences than campaign narrative experiences? What do you say?
Yeah, I agree with that. Definitely. The generation below me has basically been conditioned for the past 10 years to just expect shooters and in most games now to have online multiplayer elements. So much so that there were iterations of Call of Duty that released that had no campaign. It was just multiplayer, and they still do. all the Call of Duty Warzone games are multiplayer only. I mean, some of the most popular games in the world right now, like Fortnite, League of Legends, only multiplayer, no story aspect to them. So I think that a campaign is something that is way more revered by people in our like
us old
your generation, my
fucks.
generation. Yeah, but it's what I did hear come up though, and it's an interesting conversation to have depending on the length of the campaign. But given that the multiplayer is free, if you're not a game passer, you're paying essentially full price for just the campaign mode of Halo. And like, while the campaign is good, it's not typically like a 60-hour campaign like you would get out of, you know, some RPGs or other games where you would feel comfortable paying, you know, $60, $70 for just the campaign. Now you're paying, you know, full price for the game, and you're probably only going to get around a 20-25 hour campaign out of it. Do you think that that's like, are you okay with that? Is that cool? I mean, both of us are Game Pass, so,
right? And this argument I like to discuss because it's if you kind of compare it to other forms of entertainment, it's really not that bad of a deal. But again, back to the younger generations that have kind of grown up with free to play games, and they're not used to forking over cash for just maybe 25, 30 hours of entertainment. But if you think about movies these days, I mean, you could spend $18 to $20 to go see an hour and a half long movie that's it. Your experience is cashed in. You spent your $20. It's not like you can keep coming back to that theater and watching the movie over and over again like you can with a game. So to me, if you're going to get 20 hours for $60 and you do the math, that's, you know, OT plus OT equals OT squared, the time value of my money spent still jives in my head. You know what I mean? It's like, if I'm willing to spend $20 for a 2-hour film, is it really that big of an ass to spend $60 for a 20+ hour gaming experience that I then own and can come back to and get more legs out of it? You know what I mean? So yeah. I think that, for me, since I'm Game Pass, I really don't care. But I have seen some people saying that there's, that they should have lowered the price or blah, blah, blah. Obviously, with Halo, those are probably jobless assholes that have never worked in game design or anything. It's like, listen, the people that worked on this game, they deserve your $60 if you're not on Game Pass. All right. I mean, it's probably a steal from what the amount of hours they put in. I don't, but listen, Nick, I get it. I understand why the younger generations probably get their assholes puckered over a price like that for a game, because they just were not conditioned their whole lives. I mean, it was up until I think my late 30s that free to play never even existed. You always had to spend $30+ to get into gaming. I'm kind of conditioned the opposite way, where I'm used to spending money to play a game versus getting a game for free and then getting nickel and dimed for battle passes and cosmetic this and jerk off that. So for me, I didn't play Halo 5, and I don't plan to play Halo 5. So I don't think you need to. I really don't. Yeah. To enjoy Infinite, I really don't. I mean, in fact, dude, and if I find a good one, I'll send it to you. But tonight, I'm hoping to find like a Halo story so far recap. It's been a while. I mean, I was like deep into Halo, not Star Wars crazy, but deep. I mean, we're talking words and shit. I've read almost all the Halo words and shit. Read the books about Kelly, Fred, all those motherfuckers. I mean, I was into it all the way up to Halo 4, and then 5 comes around and just kind of changed up the whole formula. And I don't know, it just, something happened in my love for the lore died out a bit. The flame didn't fully go out, but it was just like, you know what, I don't like this taste in my mouth right now after Halo 5. It just, it didn't feel like a Halo story, at least the other ones. It kind of veered away from the whole Forerunner thing and the thing with the rings and all this fun stuff. But it's been so long since I beat it, And this is the first Halo in my life that I did not complete it multiple times. So I guess that does speak volumes to the experience. But I am looking for like a mega franchise recap, either in video form or reading. I can read sometimes, especially when it's about stuff that's not real life. So I plan to do that sometime tonight. I'll kick it over to you, maybe the Discord for anyone else that's interested. But I do want to get kind of primed for the Infinite campaign when it drops tomorrow, 1 p.m. East again. They were getting some good commentary in the live stream. We got, looks like Tones, our buddy's going for the booster. Attaboy, I had mine, and it didn't quite kill me as bad as my second shot, but it definitely made me feel mushy. Like I wasn't with it. Like you can ask my students, it was another one of those where I'm just kind of a shell of myself sitting there going like, yeah. All right, next. Okay, can we get the hell out of here? I want to go lay on the couch and die. I believe I watched Dune for the third time on my second shot. Just lay on the couch in the dark and just consume some Oscar Isaacs and Chalamet in Dune. So good luck with that, Tones. Tones also getting into The Last of Us 2, which I consider to be one of the greatest narrative games of all time. Definitely the best game of the year in 2020. I think it won the award. So enjoy that, Tones. I don't know. You might get caught up in some of the weird stuff people do. I hope you don't, because I thought the story was just absolutely fucking fantastic.
I have not finished that either. I don't know. It's just like I haven't really been into many games recently. Like I especially not like Last of Us style games, like slow, long action adventure games. So eventually I'll come back to that. But yeah, I mean, recently I haven't been playing too much anything. I wanted to find like a good RPG, like a Japanese RPG. So I picked up this game for PS5 called Tales of Arise. And like, if you played video games for a long time and you're into JRPGs, then the Tales series you've probably seen it around before, and the game's pretty fun.
You're not an FF7 guy. Like, have you played Remake yet?
Dude, I own it, and I just have no desire to play it.
Yeah.
Like, I literally have the game and it's installed on my console, but like every time I look at it, I'm like, no, I don't feel like
I get that too, because I mean, when the original came out, you were probably what, 7 or 8, something like that.
Yeah,
97.
I was a kid for sure. Yeah, I was 9.
This is another one where I can almost guarantee anyone in my age range, plus or minus 5 years or so, can go back to 1997 and be like, oh yeah, Final Fantasy VII was the greatest thing I've ever experienced in my life, and it changed how I not played games, but just how I looked at the video game medium. Like, holy shit, it's no longer just something to get me full of rage and breaking shit. It can actually tell stories that affect me emotionally. So I love
and like,
I love 7. I've loved Remake. I need to play the Yuffie expansion that they dropped this year for it. But I'm like you, man, and we were talking earlier, and I don't know if it's just a case of life depression, the pandemic going on damn near 2 years, kid getting older, me kind of falling out of love with the toy collecting and toy photography hobby. It's something in me. But really, none of my hobbies move me anymore. And yes, this is a very first world white man problem. So I'm not, everyone break out your tiny fucking fiddles at once right now and start playing them. I'm not asking for people to feel bad, but it just, I don't know, dude. It's weird. It's just like I was in gaming for 10 years. I covered it. I was at the Halo 4, Halo 5 Microsoft loft for pre-testing and playing. I mean, gaming was life. Star Wars is life. Spending money on Star Wars toys and shooting them was life. And these days, it's not. Like, I just don't feel a pull to any of these passions that have they've shaped me. They shaped who I am, and I just can't get back to that. You know what? Fuck everything. I'm just going to go sit down and play a game, or fuck this. I got some time. I'm going to go shoot a figure. It's just everything now. I'm just like, fuck it. I'll lay on the couch.
Yeah, 2021's been weird. And I'll say, I think a lot of it is due to the fact that 2021 has been pretty lackluster for Star Wars releases. I'm going to hit on both the Star Wars angle and the gaming angle. So we know that we got Bad Batch. Bad Batch was fun, but ultimately, like, it was the first season of a new show, and it had ups and downs. It wasn't a banger all the way through, so it was good, but it wasn't great. Then you had Star Wars Visions, which was awesome, but realistically, you're not going to see any of those stories fleshed out any further because they're just kind of one-off little episodes. It was fun. It was great while it lasted, but we're not going to get any continuation from it. And that's really all that we've had in Star Wars world. And then for the gaming universe, I mean, we're coming off of, this is the first year of new console releases. And if you follow gaming, you know that the first year of console releases is historically awful.
I mean, shit, dude, people still can't get the goddamn consoles.
Yeah.
I mean, you still can't fucking buy these things. Get them.
Yeah. There's no games out. So like, even if you get them, you're like, okay, what am I going to play? PS5. Let's do 7 remake, and then we'll play Ratchet and Clank, and then that's about it. Unless you're playing like, the up-res versions of PS4 games that you didn't finish, that's about it. And then on Xbox, you have Forza Horizon 5 that just came out on Game Pass for those of you who like driving games.
Supposed to be fucking excellent, by the way. Like, supposed to be amazing.
I mean, like, I played that game for about 15-20 minutes, and it looks incredible. I'm not a huge driving game person, so like but I did enjoy what I played of it. And then you have Halo, and that's about it. Like, there's no like must-have games that are out yet for these consoles that you can't play on other ones. So like, for both of the hobbies that we have, it's just kind of been ho-hum.
I guess you're right.
There's not a lot going on. The only thing that's saving me now is that like, so G4 TV, I don't know if anybody remembers that here or who watched it. They just relaunched. So G4 TV is now back. It's on actual television and it's on the internet.
Really? What channel? Who picked them up?
So the channel. So it's still the same owner. Comcast relaunched the channel. So it's check your local listings.
I bet it's not on. It's probably not on YouTube TV then.
It's on, but they put all of their content is live streamed on YouTube and Twitch first, and then they cut up their segments to make the actual like TV episodes. So it's
most of the original, because I feel like none of them got jobs after it shuttered. So what is it Morgan and Sessler and?
So Morgan's not there, but Sessler is leading X-Play. But he has, what's cool is for me is you have basically the two big people from the original. You have Kevin Pereira that's doing Attack of the Show, and you have Adam Sessler that's doing X-Play. But they brought in all of these fantastic content creators that already have very big followings to now work with the new people, or to work with Adam and Kevin on the shows, to come up with new shows, to make new content that is just outside of Attack of the Show and X-Play. And what's really cool is one of the main hosts, or the first new host that they brought on, if you're a fan of wrestling, it's Austin Creed, which is, I don't follow wrestling, but apparently he's one of the biggest wrestling stars in the world right now. Like, he just won King of the Ring and all this stuff. So they have a lot of great personalities on it. And like, when I watch it, I feel the soul of the old G4 there.
Got you.
And then being able to see, Kevin and Adam, like, the reason that I got excited for Halo is because X-Play just put out their review and they gave it a 4 out of 5. And I was like, okay, like, if there's one game reviewer out there that I trust, it's Sessler. And, having him back out there doing it in like newer kind of long form style reviews instead of just like the 3-minute style reviews that you would get on old X-Play, like having him actually sit down for 20+ minutes, sometimes flesh out a review, give you a lot of his opinion, and then also bring in the other hosts on there as well. I think it's a really cool format.
I'll have to see if I can find it, because here's the deal, and this is another generational thing that seems to be the theme in our opening discussion here.
Yeah.
I know we're technically content creators, but I don't like content creators, especially in the gaming space, because they more or less are the reason why I'm not in the gaming media anymore, because there was a clear shift in how people consume video game news and coverage about 5 to 6 years after I started Entertainment Buddha. And Entertainment Buddha was humming the fuck along. Like, for a site started in a basement by one man, I mean, I got that bitch up to like 100,000 uniques a month with no like hardcore money invested, just my time, my effort. But when it's all said and done, when I shuttered it in 2020, I think I personally had created almost 15,000 fucking pieces of content, and the site died a slow death, and I watched it for almost 3 years die. And it's because, you know, that's when streaming became the new way to market and sell games. And in my opinion, and it's, again, I'm an old fogey in the gaming space these days, I can't stand most video game personalities, like the popular streamers. They all seem like cocksuckers. They all seem like they do the same thing. They all got their neon lights and they're loud. And, you know, some take the route that Star Wars content creators do, where they're just toxic and shitty. It's like, fuck it. Give me G4, like Nick's saying. I just want to hear some sane people with a little, little jokes in their delivery, and that's it. I don't need I'm in my room and look at my camera and my Twitch, replying the comments and shit. We do that here. Fuck everyone else.
Yeah. But yeah, the new G4, I mean, it literally it launched 3 weeks ago, and it's like they have the sets just like old X-Play. They have the sets just like old Attack of the Show. Good. I think that they're in. And they don't really, it is content creator driven, but it's still like, so the shows themselves are still scripted, and there's not a lot of like snarky bullshit that you wouldn't like from like streamers or anything like that now. And they do have new things where they'll have like streamer blocks where it's just like, hey, two of the hosts are going to like team up in the office and they're just going to do a thing that they want to do together. They're just like creating basically like a new mini show for people to watch, and those are cool. That's when you get a little bit of most of the unscripted stuff, and then you get to see a little bit more of their personalities. So overall, I think that if you watch the old G4, there's a lot to enjoy about it, about the new iteration.
Did they bring back Miss Playboy Sarah Underwood and the actress now Olivia Munn?
They did not. So they had like this weird last year. They had like this weird like Thanksgiving reunion, which basically announced that G4 was coming back, and like Olivia was there, Morgan was there, I think Sarah Underwood was there too. So like a lot of the old people were there. Jessica Chobot, Blair Herter. Blair Herter is actually the VP of the network now. So they were all there for that. But now the hosts are locked down. Olivia's not in it. Sarah's not in it. The older guard isn't in it anymore, other than Kevin and Adam. So I would say give it a watch. Check your local listings, because it is on linear TV, so regular ass TV.
All right.
But if you don't,
feels like 2012 all over again, dude. The nostalgia is creeping in.
I got excited. I was like, "Oh shit, it's coming back! It's coming back!"
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. My first E3 as a media member, I went as like a Goo Goo Gaga fan, and it's like, there's the G4 booth. I'm up there, trying to talk to everyone. Saw some of them at the parties because I had some ins through some other connections. I got to go to some of their cooler after hours shit at E3, but all these people, like back then, they're just personalities. Now, like you say, Blair's running a fucking TV network. It's crazy how people's lives kind of go. And then
people have come,
I look at my life and I'm in a basement talking Star Wars to 15 people. So good for me.
I would recommend it. I would recommend it. Check out the YouTube. Check out the TV channel if you have TV. And then for Brando out there, has anyone been watching Arcane?
Nick, I've been meaning to ask you, because I've seen what Brando is saying, kind of stirring around on Instagram, at least on our feed. Some of the stories, people are like, man, Arcane, what a damn good show. I love it. And I tuned in the first episode. I was like, meh. It didn't quite snag me in and allow it to roll over and just autoplay the next episode. So I don't know. I'm not fully out on Arcane. I know nothing about League, not that I think it matters, but I don't know, that the pilot did not grab me like it's grabbed some people. Now that could be because I was watching it late at night, and these days, because I got to get up and do the school routine with the little one, I'm not quite coherent after 11 p.m. I'm dozing in and out on the couch like an old man, but it hasn't quite snagged me. Not like Cowboy Bebop did, which I did finish, and I thoroughly, highly recommend the live-action Cowboy Bebop. I enjoyed it so much, Nick, that I started watching the fucking anime. It's like, all right, well, let's see where this stuff came from, and sure as shit, there are some direct threads from the anime that got covered in the live-action, but I thought the live-action was just fantastic. So I think those are our...
We just watched the first episode of that, so and we really liked it, so we're definitely going to continue. And then Arcane, you don't need to know League of Legends to watch it, like, because League of Legends, the game itself, has zero lore in it. There's none, so you're not missing anything if you're not playing the game. The only thing that you're missing is like not knowing the character names.
Yeah, or like locations and world names, shit like that. All right.
But even like to a certain degree, you don't even know that through the game. So I would recommend continuing it because it does get better as the show progresses. But yeah, Cowboy Bebop, again, like first episode was super strong, so we're going to continue watching that. So
yeah, I'm a fan. I hope they do another season. The way it ends, I'm not going to give a spoiler, but it implies that we could be getting some more stories. And like I said, I'm into the anime now, and it's got like 26 episodes, so I'm guessing there's more content to draw from. If not, just create some additional, just new organic stories for the live action. But I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I think Joe said it best from the live stream last week. It definitely has a Fifth Element vibe to it in terms of the world and how the characters kind of dress and some of the music. I don't know. But it's also pretty fucking violent, right?
Yeah,
and
it's very violent.
Faye Valentine is a very interesting and sexy character. If you
the way that I put it was like, it's like Fifth Element mixed with like, it's almost like Quentin Tarantino to a degree too.
Yeah.
It's like Tarantino and Fifth Element kind of combined together.
Yeah.
And it makes for a really awesome mishmash of this just like kind of genre bending show. And I never watched the anime either, so I have no idea if there's crossover threads or like
there's like
are portrayed
direct episodes from the anime that were folded into parts of the live action, like full on threads. I mean the pilot, in fact, the first episode of live action Cowboy directly mirrors the main story in the 23-minute pilot of the anime. So
okay.
No, it's good shit. It is good shit. Dick Tracy is another. Yeah, there's a little Dick Tracy vibes in Cowboy Bebop as well. Good one there, Brando. All right, so we gave our recommendations on some shit to dick around in that is not Star Wars related. We got the Witchers coming up next Friday, Spider-Man next Thursday. I got my tickets. The little one and I, we're gonna do a 3:15 screening. Hopefully it's not fully packed, but I'm sure there's plenty other degenerates out there that are going to early screenings on Thursday.
Heard that, like, people are paying like $10,000, or like people are trying to like scalp them for that much
humanity
money.
is fucking dumb as shit. Because I went. Yeah. I mean, I believe the tickets went on sale early last week. I didn't get mine till last Friday, and there were hundreds of open seats at my theater for Thursday. Hundreds. It's like, what are you doing? Like, just wait. I could see where movie theaters might have been kind of gauging demand, because that's what my AMC did. From one day to the next, I look. They added probably 10 screenings from Thursday when I was looking to Friday. They're like, oh shit, people really are going to come see this in droves on Thursday night. So let's kick out all these other dumb fucking movies and just open the whole theater to Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So we nailed that down, but and then hell, a week after that, I believe it's the Kingsman prequel and Matrix Reloaded and shit. I don't know if anyone watched the new Matrix trailer that came out yesterday. Holy fuck. Like, if you weren't hyped for Revolutions or whatever, the Resurrections after the first trailer, go watch this one. It's crazy, the parallels that they start to draw, and you get a little bit of an idea that we may be entering into some sort of loop or seeing the loop that Neo has been going through. So a lot of good stuff coming up, just not Star Wars related. we still got like almost 3 weeks before we get some from Star Wars. That's a bummer, Tones. I guess some areas, like I could see I could see UK probably getting locked out because they probably don't have as many theaters as we do in America. But around me in Columbus, Ohio, which I'm not going to say is a huge city, but it is, I believe we're a 1 million population large city. It's a decent Midwest sized city. And I was able to get them days after. And I would contend if I pulled it up right now, I probably could still get tickets for Thursday, which is the pre-opening night. But after that, like Friday and the weekend, when people are starting to take off for the winter break, it's getting crazy. I almost did. I don't know if theaters by you do this, Nick, but AMC does. They're still doing private theater rentals, which they started during the pandemic to make some cash. But they still do it. I could have got a 20-seat theater for myself for $249 to watch Spider-Man.
Oh, dude, I would have done that, and I would have just been like, "Hey, who wants to?"
Right?
Yeah, like, get on your neighborhood text group. And be like, "Hey, come on."
I don't really and then a 40-person theater goes. I think it's $450 to rent one of those, and you can watch any new release. You just pay the fucking fee, and the theater is yours. And I don't think $249 for a day one Spider-Man release in your own theater is preposterous at all. I think I think that's a pretty damn good price, especially like Nick said. You know, con some of your friends in there to chop down the main expense, and you're off to the races. If I start making a little bit more money than I do, I may just start always doing fucking private rentals, fucking $250. Like, here we go, Neo. I'm coming to see you by myself. Like, just sitting there in my fat ass. I can sit in any seat I want. I can move around. I can fart louder than I usually do. But that's something I'm definitely going to start looking into a bit more, I think, for these big releases. We sure do have all the wrenches in here. It's like Gregu said at the beginning. If you're watching the live stream, which we implore you to do, make sure to subscribe to Star Wars Time Show on YouTube. Just do youtube.com/Star Wars Time Show. But Gregu was saying it looks like a toolbox in here, and it does. Lots of blue, lots of wrenches. So thank you to the super fans for coming out in droves. We speak your names. Hallelujah. Amen. And may the Force be with you. All right, man, let's talk some Star Wars. We don't have a ton of stuff to discuss. That's why I don't feel too bad about pissing out some hot air for 37 minutes here. But we did get some new stuff from the Book of Boba cast, like Nick was saying earlier. A lot of magazine coverage seems to be the method of marketing these days for the Book of Boba. There was no new stingers or teasers released since last week, but we did get some articles popping up, and you know, they can't tell you too much, but both Ming-Na Wen and Temuera Morrison gave us some hints, a little bone to chew on in terms of what we should expect with the narrative in the Book of Boba Fett, in particular, how the characters are going to be portrayed. And, you know, Nick and I, we've talked about this for a while. Even last week, we're like, listen, I mean, Boba Fett is not a hero. He definitely wasn't back in the OT, and really until the second season of The Mandalorian, you didn't know what to think about him. But he is someone that believes in a code. He paid off on that belief with Din, helped him get Grogu back, sacrificing himself, the ship, and Fennec to save the little guy. So we're like, all right, well, who the fuck is Boba going to be in the Book of Boba? Is he going to go back and just be an ass kicker? Is he going to, you know, rule with respect like he speaks himself in the full trailer? What type of character could this former bounty hunter be? A ruthless bounty hunter at that. You know, a kick-ass, take names later type of character. So Ming-Na Wen gave us some insights into this, and I kind of dig it, and I think it makes perfect sense. So she sat down to talk with D23 magazine, and one of the quotes we got here kind of focused on how Fennec and Boba's relationship and new partnership will be portrayed in the series. And she went on to say, not with the mouth gas, but, well, there's a partnership between the two of them, Fennec and Boba Fett, for sure. They're bonded by the fact that they both lived through a near-death experience, and there is a sense of code that they abide by. See, I'm trying something new for our female voices, we think.
I think Ming-Na Wen might have a deeper voice than me. She has a very
it is a very stoic sounding voice, but I just I had to change it up a little bit. So yeah, I mean, what she's saying there is like, listen, they have a partnership, but there's also a bond. It's not just like partnerships that Boba Fett used to have with Bosk or Valance, where he'd be like, oh yeah, we're partners until I don't need you anymore, and then I'm going to toss a fucking thermal detonator at your chest and explode it. All right, that's what he did to our man Valance and in the War of the Bounty Hunters series. That was excellent. But she's saying like, listen, we're more than this, and that's because we both have come back from a near-death experience. And of course, that code that we know this archetype lives by through Star Wars stories themselves. I mean, we saw Boba honor the code in War of the Bounty Hunters, where he could have killed Chewbacca. I mean, he could have killed Chewbacca, Leia, and Lando, easy peasy. But he's like, listen, I'm not after you guys. I got a bounty that I have to follow up on. That's all I care about. Sorry for lighting you on fire, you walking carpet, but I'm out. I got to get fucking Han Solo back. I don't care. There's that code. Like I said in The Mandalorian Season 2, he's like, listen, motherfucker, you gave me my armor back. We lost your kid in the process. We are now in debt to you, and we will pay off that debt and help you get Grogu back. So yeah, that code is strong with bounty hunters. And we kind of got that a little bit in the first season of Mandalorian too, right?
Especially with Fennec as well. I mean, she mentioned, they're bonded after they both lived through near-death experiences. And for Fennec, her near-death experience was saved by Boba Fett. So to a degree, she kind of has a life debt with Boba, similar to how Chewie has a life debt with Han. So
100%.
Those two are linked for the long term, it seems.
I don't know, man. I was reading this. I was like, she almost makes it sound like they may give each other a reach around every once in a while in that top tower of Jabba's castle. They got to release stress somehow. Boba always looks super serious. She's always looked super serious. Outside that time, she got that bottle of Spotchka after they just murdered a bunch of people in the palace, and she kind of sits on the arm with her leg up, and she's drinking, looking a little relaxed. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think these two might give each other some sexual release every once in a while?
I think that could be possible. I mean, Boba was Boba, like, he messed around with those Twi'lek dancers at Jabba's palace.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, Boba, we never really saw what Jango got into, his dad, but you got to figure he's a strong Mang, right? He's a manly Mang. So he's probably feeling that testosterone brewing down there every once in a while. And like you said, he's sitting there, tickling the chins of alien females in Jabba's palace and Jedi. So I don't think he's asexual. I think there's something going on down there. His radar might go off every once in a while. And we could talk about this more when we discuss Temuera's interview, but he does hint. He's like, me personally, I feel like we might have been exposing too much of Boba Fett and ruining a bit of the mystique that has been created around the character, and the fact that he never talked that much or never felt like he had a personality. So it does sound like they are going to expose more of the man behind the mask in the Book of Boba Fett. And I, for one, I'm all for it. How can you ruin a character that had only 4 minutes of screen time and like 2 lines? I mean, we get the mystique that fans have kind of built up around the character through EU content and now these days comic books, but I think it'd be good. I mean, did we not like even the little bit of character we got from Boba in The Mandalorian Season 2? I mean, just seeing him kick fucking ass showed more character than we got in the original trilogy. And then, his little joke in episode 7 where he's like, hey, I think the Empire will recognize my face. He was dropping some little zingers here and there, and, getting pissy with the night owls in episode 8. So I think we've gotten a little bit what the guy is, but it sounds like we're going to get a lot more, but more on that coming up. So back to Ming-Na, and, even though Boba and Fennec did some heroic things in Mandalorian Season 2, she's warning us that they have not made a full turn to be a baby face, if we're talking wrestler lingo here, right? You got your baby faces in the heels. Let's just say they're not going to pull a Luke Skywalker in the Book of Boba Fett. She says, so it's going to be really interesting to see how their dynamics grow in the Book of Boba Fett. I think that's all I can say. The rest is, you have to watch. Not that they're bad guys. They're not that good either. So...
yeah. I mean, this kind of goes right into the next line where she basically says that they're anti-heroes. And I think that's a good way to describe Boba. Even in new Boba, I will say. You know, old Boba from the original trilogy was not really... he was a villain. Like, there was no other way that you could really look at him because he had done nothing heroic or even close to... like, even acted like an anti-hero. He was just like a villain or a crony is the best way that you can describe him.
I mean, let's be real. When we first saw him in the OT, he was 100% a bad fucking dude. I mean, he got called to Darth Vader's ship to do some work. And so you don't put you're like, okay, yeah, Darth Vader, Boba Fett equals bad. Yes, this is a bad guy.
Yeah. So the fact that she's described them now as anti-heroes is interesting because anti-heroes, you can, like, the best portrayal of an anti-hero that's probably pop culturally relevant now is Deadpool, because he is a hero. Like, he fights,
that's a good
generally point. for good, but he is just like, he has none of the conventions that a typical hero has. He's not like this stand-up courageous, like, symbol of good that you would see out of somebody like
he's no Superman. He's not
like Iron Man.
He's not
Superman,
sitting there with his chest popped out like
Captain America.
Exactly.
Yeah, but he's an asshole, but he generally fights for good. So the fact that she's called them anti-heroes is interesting because that could mean that they are maybe they are playing in the gray a little bit more instead of just being like straight up, oh yeah, we'll just kill anybody for money.
Right.
Maybe they are kind of skewing a little bit more towards the neutral / good side of things after their near-death experiences. So I think that could be interesting to see how that, not necessarily the dynamic between them shifts, but the dynamic between them and the rest of the galaxy. Because I think that a lot of people are going to, once they hear that Boba's taken over Jabba's palace and everything like that, they're going to immediately think that, like, oh yeah, he's good. Now he's a bounty, he's going to run his own bounty hunter syndicate. He's going to be the same guy that we knew last time. Like, we'll be able to hire him out or his people out to go do all these things. So I'm very interested to see how they're going to, like, change the dynamic of Boba and the people that he's already familiar with.
Yeah, because she says, like Nick said, we are the anti-hero. I like playing an anti-hero. I gotta keep forgetting. I gotta go to my female voice. You get away with more, I think. So you get away with more, I think. And she's right. And Nick's Deadpool example is perfect of an anti-hero. I mean, the guy is off his rocker. I mean, that's why the X-Men were hesitant to let him in, because he would do anything to get the job done, even if it meant, wiping out a bus full of kids. It's like, all right, well, I still did what you asked me to do, but, there might have been a little more collateral damage than you prefer to have. And I think that, I mean, let's be real. They're bounty hunters and assassins by trade. So they've always been operating in the gray, as Nick explained. So, anti-hero to me is just like they're slightly better than a full-on shithead. All right. Like they have some good intentions. They have some good thoughts, but they're also not afraid to rack up a body count to kind of get to where they need to go, to do the right thing.
To get there. Yeah, to get there.
They're probably not as hardcore with this mantra as, say, a Peacemaker, right, from Suicide Squad, who, his whole thing is like, I'll kill everyone in the name of peace. Like he was ready to kill kids, everything. It doesn't matter. As long as it can lead to his vision of peace, it's acceptable. But I think they're right behind him in that, and they'll definitely have no qualms killing bad guys or other people that operate in the gray. And I think that's where most of their killing is going to come.
Yeah, I agree with that. So, good little bit of insight there from Ming-Na and kind of talking about how the character dynamics between those two can shift. And it should make for a very interesting beginning of the season, because I think it would have been super easy for, LFL, Disney to kind of pick up and just play him as a bounty hunter again, like just kind of, polish off the armor, go back to what he was known for and what his father was known for before that, and just continue on in the bounty hunting. But the fact that he is kind of making this, it seems like a lifestyle change, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, you're right.
It's going to make the first few episodes interesting, and you'll see kind of, we'll probably see is, old relationships devolve because they're expecting, Boba's back.
Good point.
Let's get the old crew back together.
Yep.
Let's see. Let's get out on the streets again and cause some mayhem. And then Boba may have a little bit of a different idea of how he wants to do things now. So seeing those old friendships with this new dynamic could be very interesting.
No, you're right. It is going to be the most unique take on the character, and we'll get into that more coming up. Well, really coming up next once I'm done making a point here. But like Nick said, if they were just brought into this show and they were just going to continue as bounty hunters, it would have been kind of boring. Even if they brought into this show and they were going to continue on the supposed good guy, good girl reformation project where they were only looking to do righteousness, only to do good, that wouldn't have felt right either. So what we're hearing from Ming-Na, that they're still going to have a toe in their former life because of what they're trying to do. I mean, they are working in the criminal underworld, but they may also be kind of showcasing some of the life lessons they learned during their near-death experiences, and that, it doesn't always pay to be a kind of an operative of mayhem. Sometimes talking out a situation or maybe working with a past enemy may be the better solution versus just guns a-blazing and gaffy sticks smacking. So, one thing I think, and I'll take the blame for this because I've done more of the lore research on Crimson Dawn and more of the bounty hunters and whatnot, but dude, is the Ithorian and his gang, or is the big bad, or could the big bad be fucking Kira?
Dude, I mean, like, it's a good question.
I mean, even
Kira's,
what were we calling the guys last week? The Maroon Goons. Maroon is a shade of Crimson.
Crimson. Yeah.
And if you read War of the Bounty Hunters, there is a hugely unresolved plot thread, and that is Boba Fett's hatred for Kira.
Yeah.
The moment he realizes she's the one that stole Han, he pledges to himself, I am going to kill this person. So what better threat to Boba in him trying to start his own criminal syndicate than Crimson Dawn, which we know through War of the Bounty Hunters is resurging in power right, only 7 or 8 years prior to the Book of Boba Fett. And they're mixed up in the Empire. They're going to be mixed up in the Remnant. They very well could be mixed up in the First Order. So I don't know why it's taken me this long to kind of come around to it. But could the oh fuck moment of Book of Boba Fett be the return of Kira, or at least Crimson Dawn, to live action Star Wars?
I mean, I would love that. I think that at the very least, I think that Crimson Dawn can play a big role, even if Kira isn't the main figurehead.
Right.
Yeah, because Star Wars in general has dedicated so much resources to basically building out this or this faction.
The whole point of War of the Bounty Hunters, outside of making Boba a badass in the OT, was to bring Crimson Dawn, in particular Kira, back into the main narrative. Fuck whatever they're going to do in Solo. They interjected right in, and now I think it's coming out next week. We're going to get the first run of Crimson Reign, which is going to just tell more of their tale and how they're trying to infiltrate the galaxy. And then after that, I believe it's the Hidden Empire run, which also deals with Crimson Dawn. So it does seem like all wings of the Lucasfilm storytelling group are kind of converging to really thrust the Crimson Dawn narrative into future Star Wars tales, timelines, so on and so forth.
I mean, we also had that rumor of the Crimson Dawn animated series that could be coming out as well. So there's a lot there. There's unresolved character lines like we've been talking about with Solo that you could draw all the way through into the current timeline. I mean, at a certain point, we assumed that Kira was dead. Like we all kind of went into Solo and we're like, well, Kira can't hang around for too long because if there was this relationship with Han and everything like that, then we probably would have seen her in the OT. And obviously, you can't go in and retcon the OT because of a character that you created after it. But that doesn't mean that character has to be, axed essentially right after the movie comes out. So I think it would be really cool if they did bring her in. I mean, Emilia Clarke has done essentially nothing after Solo and Game of Thrones wrapped up. I'm not sure if she's just taking a hiatus from work after having a really long series run.
I mean, she had like a couple rom-coms, and then I think she's gone the way of any other star that was prominently featured on a major show. They just sometimes
they kind of fade into
the typecasting thing happens, fair or not fair, and there you go. You become Hayden Christensen. And you're just going to outdoors farmers markets, and people are taking pictures of you to see if you're getting buff. See if you're getting buff.
I mean,
again.
It would kind of be the perfect interjection into the series.
I don't know,
she doesn't even have to be a main player. Like she could literally show up as the, halfway through the series, towards the end of the series, and literally say like, hey, I'm the leader of Crimson Dawn now. This is my faction. And then, maybe the Ithorian works for her. He's one of her captains or something like that.
And let's kind of put all the dots together here. The Ithorian we knew about months ago. It's been confirmed. So I tend to believe this report now that was saying like, listen, Boba Fett and his faction gets mixed up with this Hammerhead and his faction. They fuck with each other, but then ultimately they realize they need to work together against a bigger threat. What bigger threat could there be to Tatooine's criminal underworld than Crimson fucking Dawn, who essentially at this point in the timeline, based on what we've seen in the comics and what they're pitching for future Crimson comics, there are going to be the king and queen pins of the Star Wars underworld at this point in time, especially if you account for the fact that the Hutts get wiped out in War of the Bounty Hunters, and then Jabba the Last One gets killed in Return of the Jedi. So it only makes sense that once they hear that a Boba Fett has returned and he's trying to claim Hutt's, Jabba's, former empire, fuck yeah, they're going to show up and want to see what's going on. So I don't know why it's taken me this long to figure it out. All I ask all of you of SWTS Nation, now that you've heard me lay down the gospel, if it comes true, I want one of the biggest ticker tape parades online that has ever happened. I want everyone to celebrate me. Maybe a little praise, maybe doing some of these, like, oh, man. You know what I want? I want what the Ewoks did to C-3PO in Return of the Jedi, okay? I want you motherfuckers to levitate me in a wooden chair and do a chant, like, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey. All right? You heard it here first. I'm going with it. I think Nick may have something too. Maybe the Ithorian's connected to Crimson Dawn, or maybe he's not. But I have a feeling Crimson Dawn is going to be a huge player in the Book of Boba Fett. And you gotta remember that this guy swore to kill Kira. around the time of Empire Strikes Back leading into Return of the Jedi, which isn't too far back. I mean, we're talking maybe 8 years, like I said. And I don't think someone like Boba Fett probably forgives a grudge like that, because he took it as an affront to his code. Han Solo and Carbonite was his bounty. He claimed it. He was going to deliver it. She stole him, made him do all this extra shit, beat up most of his bounty hunter friends. He's still going to have a chip on his shoulder, I believe. So here we go. Here we go. So maybe the Maroon Goons, after all, do have a tie to Crimson Dawn. Maybe the Ithorian does, but I just feel like this is it. I've got it all figured out now. Thank you. You can leave your donations in the can at the door. Sticking with our buddy Boba. He seems to be everyone's friend these days because it's really all we have to look forward to. Nick and I were talking. We're like, man, 2021 was rough, just in terms of listenership and you know, kind of how people have dropped off or tuned us out. And it's like, you know what? It does kind of make sense because, like Nick said, outside of Bad Batch and Visions, which are, and he explained it perfectly, they're fringe type of stuff. As great as Bad Batch is, even diehards weren't that taken by it. Me, yes, because I'm a nut. Yeah. But I mean, I saw it on Instagram, like, oh, you know, Bad Batch, cool. I'll watch it when I watch it, or I don't even care about Bad Batch spoilers. So you could kind of get the sense that it didn't quite, you know, wrap people up like a live action Mando would. So 2021 was rough to talk about Star Wars content because there wasn't much. So hopefully,
as content creators for Star Wars, we were literally like, man, did you hear about this delay?
Yeah.
Did you see this grainy picture?
Did you hear about
what looks like
this asshole content creator who pulled something out of his butt and threw it at a wall and, you know, said this, that, or everything? It's probably not true. Yeah, it's wrong. Well,
man, we're all so hyped up for this Disney Plus Day because everybody's telling us there's going to be all this Star Wars shit. And then, oh wait, there was no Star Wars. I mean, that was like Disney Plus Day 2021 was essentially what Star Wars was in 2021.
To us in particular, a lot of
expectation,
and then a kick in the balls. That's what it was. You know, a lot of hype and then a kick to the dick. I mean, it was terrible. It was like, it has to be, you know, Nick and I are talking about doing like an end of a year type of deal, either first week of 22 or last. I haven't figured if I want to do a show the week of Book of Boba. But maybe that should go on our top moments of Star Wars in 2021.
Yeah, this is the Disney Plus Day kicking the
just
nuts.
the fucking fail, like the epic fail of that, and how excited. I mean, dude, I worked on
the best thing to do.
I worked on a day off to get ready for this day. And it never happened. We got a 1-year-old sizzler for Kenobi where they're like, oh yeah, this is going to be fucking awesome. Hayden's coming back. Like, no shit. You told us this last year.
It's hilarious. Like, I just, like, the best thing to do is just, like, go back and look at all, like, the leaker content leading up to Disney Plus Day. It's like, trailer for this, sizzle for that, trailer. We're going to get a fucking new this. And just look at all of it and then finally get down to Disney Plus Day and watch Disney Plus Day and just realize how full of shit they all were and like how it was clear that they were making stuff up. Like, I mean, you can say as much as you want that like they got wrong information from whoever, unless those people were literally pulling a practical joke on all the leakers. They lied. Like they just straight up made it.
Nick, I know you don't dive too deep into it, but that was one of the conspiracy theories that it was a trick to try to out some of the sources at Lucasfilm that are leaking shit to the leakers. So who knows? But I remember when I was hyping it, I was like, and it was more speculation because I was just like, hey, hello, McFly, common sense. Yeah, they're going to talk about some Star Wars stuff at a Disney Plus, the first ever Disney Plus Day. And sure as shit, I was wrong on that one too. But I do not think I'm wrong on my Crimson Dawn prediction for the Book of Boba Fett. You heard it here first. Take it to the bank. If our channel was big enough, someone could clip it right now and share it to the world. But I know it is going to happen. There's just too many pieces moving in the Lucasfilm narrative world to not propel Crimson Dawn onto the screen. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. All right. Let's get back to our boy, Mr. Fett, the scion of Jango. So we got another magazine article to talk about. I know, whoop-de-doo, no moving images, nothing to really concrete to kind of latch on and speculate on, but we did get some decent quotes from Boba himself, Mr. Temuera Morrison, who, I don't know if anyone saw it, but he was looking pretty damn good in that Columbia Book of Boba Fett gear that he was wearing and trying to sell, and I think he signed a few pieces for charity. Which, by the way, I don't know if anyone tried for it. We talked about it last week, I think. Those Columbia pieces, I believe, sold out within an hour. Okay? So if you thought I was a jerk off for bringing it up and getting excited about it, I wasn't the only one. I mean, I thought if I got up at 6 a.m., I could still maybe get the hoodie. No fucking chance. I blew that one. I mean, everything was sold out but the t-shirt. And as Nick said, I believe the t-shirt's still in stock, which makes sense, but it's really only in kid sizes or little sizes or super fat sizes, right?
Yeah, it's the t-shirt is not in large, but it's in small, medium, I think.
All right, perfect for schmedium crowd.
If you are one of the schmediums, then you can get yours out there too. And they have the women's jacket, the interchangeable jacket. For $450.
Hold on. Brando's saying that the Meg, who, you know, I kind of put in the Mike Zero territory sometimes, gave us props for a leak we had. So, hey, I'll take it.
No, I didn't. I don't know who the Meg is.
The Meg's another. The Meg's another big channel that gets a lot of heat for putting out some controversial takes on stuff like this is gonna happen, these people are getting fired, this, that, and the other thing. I'm not gonna comment any further. I really don't get mixed up in that content these days too much, but hey, if she shouted us out, we now love it, and we support whatever shit she puts on her channel. That's how we are. If we're like Boba Fett and Fennec, you may be.
If you do a right by us,
you're good. I don't care what shady shit you've done in the past, but if you do us right, we're friends. So
we're okay.
Yeah, we have a partnership now. Now, hey, it's nice. There was a few weeks back where I was getting on the Making Star Wars show, and then I had the one bad call on the strike, and now I've been blackballed from that circle. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. One of these days we will break through and at least get to 1,000 subs on the channel. Can we try to do that, by the way?
1,000 subs on the tube.
On our tube. Like, we've been going for almost 3 years now and don't have a fucking 1,000 subs on YouTube. That is pathetic. And for me, like, I'm not yelling at you guys. I'm just asking for help at this point. Can we get that over 1,000 somehow? Can people pump it on their Instagrams? Be like, hey, get these jerk offs to 1,000 so the short one shuts the fuck up. Something like that. Like, what you want me to do a show and I'll shave my nipples. I'll do something, but let's get this thing to 1,000, because I saw a community member, love the guy, like his work. We've had him on the top 5. Kiko Collects. He started a channel a year ago, has 2,000 fucking subscribers, and he talks about 1/6 scale figures. All right. Again, that's not good for him. All the love to people that create content and get an audience, but like, maybe send us feedback. What are we doing wrong? Where is the growth go? Why don't people want to love us? Please love us. I beg of you. But no, seriously, send feedback. Tell us we blow. Tell us what we do wrong. Tell us what we do right. We live to serve. Okay. But anyways, thank you for that, Brando. I never heard of that before. I figured we're just as obscure as it gets, and we can pretty much say or do whatever we want, and no one's ever going to find out because no one listens, right? If a tree falls in a forest and no one's there to hear it, did it really fall? That's the mantra of the Star Wars Time show. All right, man, let's get to Morrison's quotes here. He kind of teases at the Book of Boba Fett, not that this should be a surprise, but he's teasing that it's going to answer many, not just a few, but many questions about Fett's post-Sarlacc pit life. Ming-Na, she had another quote in this, and she's like, yeah, the show is going to dive more into the life of bounty hunters, which, Nick was kind of talking about. We got a tease of that in like the first 3 episodes of The Mandalorian, and then it became a hero's journey type of show. But we did get a little bit of the life of what being a bounty hunter in Star Wars was, especially the first episode. I mean, that whole first episode of The Mandalorian Season 1 was nothing but what it was like to be in the Bounty Hunter Guild. So I dig that. I want to see more of that world. You know, I would like to see Cardboard maybe make an appearance either in a flashback or in the present timeline. You know, I know he's kind of a magistrate now, but he was a big player in the Bounty Hunter verse back in the day. I think that line more or less confirms that, yeah, we're going to see probably some of the other big name bounty hunters, which shouldn't be a super surprise. You know, there's been rumors for maybe even a year now that Black Kirshestan might make an appearance. You know, you always got Bosk. You know, maybe someone will dig up IG-88's fucking frame from wherever Darth Vader left it. You know, you got Zuckuss Forlom potentially could show up in there. So I'm interested definitely to get a little more of that bounty hunter insight. But then what Temuera goes into here. Oh, I'm sorry. This is still Ming-Na, and I'll spare you the female voice here, but because this is a long quote. So she says that the series will delve into the relationship between Boba and Fennec. See, I'm telling you, they're hooking up behind the scenes. Before all their armor goes on, which they never take off apparently, they're you know, they're getting a little hanky panky going on in that tower we've seen at Jabba's palace. So here's what she says: in the Book of Boba Fett, there will be a lot of exploration of the dynamics between Boba Fett and Fennec Shand, how they complement each other and what they get out of that relationship. He's someone she respects, and they have definitely bonded with him saving her, as in they've definitely did the old in, out, in, out. It allowed her to realize that she might be better off not being solo anymore. She sees her alliance with Boba Fett as a very smart move in the sense that she'll have somebody watching her back. And even though it might be an extra baggage to have to align herself with someone else, the reward for her at the moment is greater. And you know, Boba died, or we thought he did, in the Sarlacc pit. So I think that both of them share those near-death experiences in common. They both have a vulnerability that they understand. Vulnerability between two people usually means sex, all right? I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I'm shipping these motherfuckers. Bo Shand.
On-screen.
You know, Fennec Fett, whatever you want to call it. They've been shipped on the Star Wars Time show. We got to come up with their name.
There we go.
Boba Shand. I don't know what works here. Fennec Fett. Fen Fett. Something like that.
Fen Fett. Bo Shand is probably the best one. Yeah. Bo Finn. I don't know. But do you think we're going to get the first on-screen sex scene of Star Wars history between these two characters? Is that what's going to happen here?
I hope not, because we were talking about this last week. There's just something about these shows where it doesn't seem natural to see people having sex. Like when in the Eternals, like Eternals, two beautiful people, get it on, and it didn't feel like it fit. It just didn't feel like it was needed. It was a little like, okay, all right, well, that's cool. I mean, I like seeing naked people, especially when they're beautiful, but it just didn't seem right. And as much as I'd love to see like Slave Leia get naked, I don't think it would feel right to watch Star Wars characters banging on screen. Is anyone else with me here?
Yeah, I know, right? It's almost like now that we've like in the future or the distant past, as we learn every time a Star Wars movie comes on, galaxy far, far away, a long time ago. Maybe the sexual reproduction was just done. We didn't do that anymore. Sex was not the main way of procreation. Maybe there was like a galactic wide STD that was very easily transmissible, and so that's why you never see intimacy outside of brother sister kisses.
That's right. Like just that. Little smooches. That's about. I think all Star Wars needs to take their relationships too. I mean, don't get me. I'd even like to see Ming-Na Wen get a little nude, but I still don't think it would be normal to see on screen in a Star Wars show. I just don't. It's weird.
Nah, it's too. Star Wars and Marvel are way too. I don't want to say sterile, but they're just way more focused on like a an action adventure atmosphere than it is like an intimacy between the characters. Right. And they show intimacy between characters in different ways. And I think like the best way that we've ever seen that done was definitely Han and Leia in the OT. And like you never saw like aside from like 1-2 kisses, like there was never a very intimate.
No, I mean, dude, he's essentially sexually harassing her for most of A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back.
Empire, yeah.
And it's not until he more or less rapes her in the hallway that she's like, hey, you know what? I do dig this guy. And then obviously we get the love lines in Cloud City, and then you realize like, she loves him just as much as he loves her.
And then he gets the jealousy when he's like, "Oh, you and Luke."
Yeah,
huh?
He's like, "Oh, okay, I get it. I'm gonna go pout and jerk myself off now that Luke is the hero." And she's like, "No, dummy. We were just getting into some casual incest before. Now that I know he is my brother, I definitely don't want to touch his wee-wee. So now my heart is only for you, pal." Oh boy, we're fucked up. All right. All right, I got to hit up 1-6-Shooter. He's got some advice for the show. I will take it from him because he is a YouTuber himself. All right, so yeah, I mean, they're clearly Fennec and Boba. Even just their dynamic is going to be interesting in Book of Boba because they got this bond, this relationship, but they're also coming from a lone wolf lifestyle, which could add some interesting hijinks into their dynamics and kind of how they deal with whatever is thrown at them in the show. This one, I don't really want to get into it because it is what it is. Listen, this article went on to report that the Slave One has been rebranded as its model name, which is the Fire Spray. So just like Din's ship was called the Razor Crest, that was a model. For the most part, ships are referred to their model name in Star Wars outside of the Falcon. I mean, really, or the Falcon is like, I mean, if that was its motto, it'd be what, like the Y3 1000 or something like that.
YT3 Corellian Corvette or something like that.
And I want to say, it's not clear if that's how it will be referred to in the show, if the name is spoken. But again, this is being done for toy making. I know a lot of people my generation are upset at this because it's not called Slave One, and they're pulling out the PC card and whatnot. But Fire Spray is not a bad name to slap on a toy box for a kid to ask for and say, "Hey, Mom, give me that slave ship." And listen, I don't get tied up in that PC stuff. I actually dislike political correctness for the most part. But I'm also someone that's not going to waste an ounce of my energy getting upset that the Slave One may be referred to sometimes as the Fire Spray. All right?
Fire Spray, yeah. No, I mean, I know. I don't know. I mean, like, I don't care.
It's always going to be a Slave One to us. It's the Slave One in the universe. Who cares? It's really, who gives a shit?
But that's the thing is, like, I don't even think they probably won't even say the name. I don't even think they ever said.
You're correct.
Slave One.
It's never. It's never been referred to as a Slave One on screen.
Yeah, and I don't think that they're going to call it the Fire Spray either. Like, they're just not going to call it anything.
Like, let's go get my ship.
All right, let's get to the ship.
Yeah.
Like they say in every fucking thing else. Let's get to the ship. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. They did make a point to always name the Razor Crest the Razor Crest, but I think it was because it was a novelty, right? It was a leftover from the Clone Wars era. People hadn't seen many models, so when they would see it, they'd be like, "Oh, a Razor Crest! Like, what the fuck is that?" Yeah. So. And then it got its ass blown up. So you're better not to have a name anyways, or you'll get wasted. All right, so here's Temuera's offering up. So he kind of gave us some quotes on how Boba's mystique will be handled, and if he will remain as a very mysterious character like he's been for all of these years here. And I kind of teased it earlier. It sounded like Morrison in the article felt like they were pushing the envelope too much at times. So that's interesting to see. Like the actor of the character, it was almost pushing back on the writers. Like, oh, should we be showing this much of Boba Fett's personality? Shouldn't we keep him as this mystical ass kicker? But he went on to say here, he ultimately trusts the team. So here's the quote. Yes, and that's where we kind of opened up too much of the can at times, I think. So watch out, Boba Fett fans. I mean, he may, do a song and dance, and you may go like, oh shit, this guy's kind of a douchebag. He's not this just badass lone wolf that we always thought he was. But he went on to say, I did have my reservations, but hey, I trust the people I work with. I was so lucky I had people like Dave Filoni, who has an ability to connect some of the dots, some of the ancient dots. Let's come back to that. And to keep that authenticity. I relied on him a lot because I'm not one of these actors that reads every comic book and every bounty hunter book. What do you think? I guess, Nick, what would be too much of the can to you in a portrayal of Boba Fett? Like, what do you think they asked Tem to do that he was like, oh, really? Should we be doing this? Should this character be doing this? Is it like saving a puppy dog? Is it like holding a little baby? I mean, what are we talking about?
I mean, I think that general, like, it may harken back to what we were just talking about, which was just like general intimacy for that character at all. Like, we've never seen him. I mean, obviously, we haven't seen Boba Fett do much. I mean, let's just be honest. But like, we've never seen him actually, as a friend to somebody. We've never really seen him get close. Like, even in The Mandalorian season 2, I wouldn't even say that he was like, he kind of got friendly with Din towards the end. But I think that like showing vulnerability, especially around Fennec, is probably what he's talking about. It's like this character has never been vulnerable. Even, when we saw him with the Tuskens, even when we saw him, pre getting his armor back, everything like that. He was never like a vulnerable person. So if they do have like vulnerable moments between him and Fennec, then that's kind of peeling back a curtain that we had never seen behind before with Boba. And that could be kind of uncomfortable, especially for Tem, in the way that he's always viewed the character. He's always viewed the character as like this strong man, this, kind of,
that's all we've had to work with.
Personality.
I mean, you gotta remember, Tem is working from a normal person's perspective on Star Wars. He's not like us. He says it right here in this quote. I don't read every comic and every bounty hunter book. And he's on the record saying like, listen, I'm glad we're getting to do this because Boba Fett was a putz. He was a pud. He was a bozo, as I have explained multiple times. Barely on screen, barely said anything, and didn't even do anything. I mean, he didn't really catch Han Solo. I mean, that was all set up by the Empire. They're the ones that came into Cloud City and kind of helped with all that shit and shoved them in the thing and handed them right to Boba Fett on a platter. And then let's not even talk about what the hell he did in Return of the Jedi. I mean, he's sitting there getting hard-ons, playing with alien girls, and then gets like a buffoon, gets his jetpack fired up, and he literally goes crashes and falls into a pit. I mean, he looked like a jerk off. So yeah, I mean, he's right. And I guess Tem felt like, based on what I know, are we pushing this character too much to actually feel like it has emotions, feelings, so on and so forth?
Yeah.
And I'm excited for that. I was one of the biggest Boba Fett shitheads out there. I mean, everyone will probably remember the infamous episode after the Tython return where, I literally opened the mic screaming at people over Boba Fett. And everyone like, see, we told you he was awesome. It's like, fuck, what do you mean? What do you mean you told me? I know what my eyes saw, and he was not awesome. Yeah, he looked like a badass, but he didn't do anything that was badass in nature. But then when I saw what he was doing in Mando S2, I was like, whoa, okay. I can get into this version of the character, and I can't wait to see the future growth of the character in Book of Boba, and it sounds like we're going to get a lot of it. Maybe too much for some fans, at least was for Tem. But again, he said, he did his in the name of the Father, Son, the Holy Spirit. And he's like, listen, who the fuck am I? Dave Filoni, he is the chief creative officer. He's connecting ancient dots. He's got the authenticity. I'm just going to show up and deliver. I got to trust that guy. All right. And we all trust Dave. He's earned our trust.
I was going to say,
so
there's no other person that you should trust more with Star Wars right now than Dave himself.
Nick, I want to pick your brain on when he says some of the ancient dots.
Yeah. This could be going back into like the history of Mandalore
and
history
maybe
of Mandalorians.
Now, do you think it's going to be kind of told from the perspective of his father, who has that steep history with the Mandalorian culture? Because I know everyone still wants to make Boba Fett a Mandalorian, even though in the Mandalorian season 2 he says, "I'm not a Mandalorian" himself. I mean, Boba Fett's on the record saying, "Listen, fuckers, I'm not one of you. I'm not a part of the culture. Never was, never will be. I just wear this armor because my fucking clone daddy left it for me. Well, died in it for me." That's a better way.
So it's hard because if you think about Boba Fett in just terms of like bounty hunter, like of what he is, he's a clone, he's a bounty hunter, he's potentially a new criminal syndicate, person. Like he runs his own syndicate. You can't really go ancient in a lot of those directions. Obviously, you can go back in time. There's bounty hunters there forever. But like what history is there to dig into? What is there for bounty hunters in the distant past that's like different than what it is now, So I think that, maybe it will be just like exploring his upbringing and his father's life a little bit more. And that's some of the ancient dots he's talking about, because one thing that we've never, like, he has a reverence for his father. It's very clear. It's very clear from Mando season 2.
Yeah.
When he brings up the chain code and everything like that. And,
that's why I wanted to focus on that, Nick. Do you think the chain code could be the impetus for some of these ancient dots to kind of come out in the Book of Boba Fett? I just, whenever I think about that scene now, I just laugh because of all the fantastic memes people made. Where it's like, "I'm Boba. This is my father, Jango Fett." He like pulls up the thing and is like Jango dancing it like a Disney thing.
Yeah.
I love that. So, like, motherfuckers on the internet are great sometimes. I forget which one I'm thinking about, but it's making me laugh. It's just, there were some fantastic ones of him pulling up that chain code, the din, and then like the shit that would display on it. I really think one of them is like Boba Fett or Jango dancing at one of those Disneyland like shows they used to do.
Yeah.
Where
like that in armor going down the parade.
Fuck yeah! It like in the context of the scene of the Mandalorian, it's all serious, but you see him pulling up this jerk off like. Ugh. But yeah, it's like because we had people decipher that, and it goes into, I think Concord Dawn popped up, Django's name, and what's the guy, Jaster Muriel, right?
Jaster Muriel,
yeah. So I think you're spot on. Like if we are going to get some of the ancient Mandalorian stuff, it probably would come through the chain code and him discussing it maybe with Fennec, and like it kicks off a flashback like, "Hey, my father Jango, and this is how he got the armor," and blah blah blah. And maybe you get Jango in the Book of Boba Fett. There's another little speculation nugget I'm gonna throw out there. Why the fuck not? Put Tem's hair back.
Both of them. Yeah, put make a fucking. You don't have to hire anybody else. Just recolor the armor. So. I think that's probably going to be a lot of it, because like once you get into that, like obviously you can talk about the history of Jango Fett, and if they go back into the Mandalorian Civil War, and because I don't think that's been canonized, so like the split, the Civil War between the true Mandalorians and then the other faction Mandalorians and everything like that, and then Jango eventually becoming the Mandalore, like the official leader of Mandalore and stuff like that. There's a lot of that you could dig into if you wanted to go into the history of his lineage, like where his father came from and everything.
I see it maybe coming up like between him and Fennec talking at night, got a fire going. Like, yeah, so what? Why did you fall around a random Mando for months or days in the desert to track down this armor? Why is it so important? And then he goes into like, "Listen, this is my father, Jango." pulls it up and the guy starts dancing and shit. But
Yeah.
I think it could go. Can
Wrong video.
someone, if you're on the live stream and you know of good ones, can you link those to us in the chat? I want to pull some up because I don't know. I'm feeling giggly today. And there was one, I wish I knew exactly what it was, but it was definitely, as the kids say, LOL type of material.
Yeah.
It was just ridiculous. Like Jared's in the
pretty.
chat. He's saying there was one where Boba pulls up on his hologram there, shows chain code, and it's the Black Series inventory numbers for the exclusives at Target. So I mean, there's great ones across the board. Pretty much any community probably created a meme to fit their needs with the old Boba Fett showing off his chain code. But if there's any good ones out there, send them to us in the live stream chat. Maybe we'll pull one up, see if I start to crack up. All right, so one more quote from our buddy Tem here. And he was asked by SFX, like, you know, is this show going to cover Boba's timeline gap? Essentially meaning the time that passed from his apparent death in Jedi until his resurgence in The Mandalorian Season 1. And here's what Morrison promised. And he said, the answers will flow. His direct quote is, there will definitely be a number of answers. Some long-winded answers, some short and sharp answers, some colorful answers. We're filling in a lot of gaps.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
to you, Nick, is a long-winded answer something that takes place throughout the entire season, or a whole episode is dedicated to fleshing out the timeline?
I think that it would be better to have something like that be almost like like an episode or a season-wide arc. Like, you know, I think it could, like, the easy way out of the situation, like with the, you know, with the Sarlacc and everything like that, is just like cover it in the first half of an episode or whatever, cover it in a flashback. But you could also tease something like that out pretty well, like, you know, essentially have him kind of go through the events leading up and everything like that, and then kind of drag it out over a few episodes to where he finally gets out. But I think it's going to be a mix of both. I think the sharp ones are probably going to be stuff that happens that you know, you get wrapped up in, you know, the first half of an episode or something like that. You know, like you see, like, oh yeah, you know, what happened with you and this guy? You know, like wasn't there a conflict there? And then you'll get
it's like
something that
like 30
seconds
seconds clip of him, you know, shooting Forlom in the face or something. You're like, oh yeah, I remember that guy. What do you think the colorful answers could be?
Yeah,
are those like action intense, like heavy action pieces that fill in some gaps? Or
I was gonna say that might be like full flashbacks, like, you know, the ones that you actually get like a full scene flashback where you see younger Fett doing whatever it is that they were talking about, you know, like taking his first bounty or something like that. The first time that he got mixed up with, you know, some of the more famous bounty hunters out there. I wonder if they'll cast like even a like a Clone Wars aged Boba to show some of these scenes between Aura Singh and Cad Bane and stuff like that. You know, like there's a lot of angles answering these questions, and you know, it could give us a live action Cad Bane. It could give us this, you know, a lot of the live action stuff that we've seen in animated form before. So I think the colorful ones will definitely be something that includes the action, like you said, with it.
I'm having some AirPod issues here.
Oh no, the AirPods. I will say that
I wish. Can Steve Jobs? Can someone resurrect Steve Jobs like Jesus? All right, because I love Apple, but ever since the motherfucker died, they've been more polished Microsoft. That's it. They don't innovate shit. Their products fucking suck now. I mean, these are the brand new AirPods 3. They're all wonking in and out. The one doesn't charge half the fucking time. The AirPods Max I can't even use on a fucking iMac because they cut in and out. I was getting ready to yell at Nick, and it's not his fault. These stupid ass things just drop connection. Sorry.
Razer earbuds, Razer Hammerhead, whatever, true wireless, something like that.
You know what?
These are good.
That should be a story for all of you. If you are a fucking genius that changed the world, don't think you know more than science, okay? You know, Steve Jobs is dead because he thought he could fucking eat carrots and apples to beat fucking cancer. All right?
Yeah.
And this is where we're at now. Apple is, like I said, it's more polished Microsoft. It's a fucking joke.
I've been trying to get people off the Apple train, but it's hard to leave an Apple ecosystem once you're fucking.
No, I mean, it's still way better than being on Windows and updates this and that and cross your fingers. You got to restart so this works and tap your head, rub your belly shit. But the quality is not the same, and really the innovation is what's dropped the most. I mean, come on, they haven't fucking innovated a goddamn thing since he died. Nothing. Yeah. All right, back to Star Wars.
They're really good at copying stuff that other people do now. But anyway, yes, back to Star Wars. So yeah, I mean, like, I still think that the show is going to follow a format that's similar to what I had first talked about, where you're going to get a mix of flashbacks that discuss a lot of the questions, the open questions that Boba's, or that Tim was responding to, and you're going to have a good mix of live action, or not live action, like live timeline. Current timeline, what's going on, and his progression towards potentially building a crime syndicate or whatever he's doing now that he's taken out Bib Fortuna and taken over the castle. So yeah, I think those are still good options for the show overall.
Got motherfuckers coming in, leaving doors open. There's cats probably running around the neighborhood. All right. Daddy daycare time. All right. So here are I got 3 things that I want everyone to write down and postmark it for today. Okay. On the Star Wars Time show, we have predicted that in the Book of Boba Fett, Crimson Dawn will be revealed to be the big threat, with the hopes of Kira making her live action debut on Star Wars TV. Number 2, we're going to see Jango Fett in the Book of Boba Fett via flashback. Number 3, I still think the way he escapes the pit is by catching himself on fire with his gauntlet to have the thing puke him up. I really think that's how he gets out. I think that's why he had those scars and no eyebrows and shit. And then ultimately, it's the sand people that take him in, heal them, hell, maybe let them live with them a little bit, because you don't end up looking like a nomad with gaffy sticks if you didn't spend some time with the sand people. So those are 3 predictions that I'm feeling very confident about now. So Crimson Dawn Kira, Jango, and his escape will be through lighting himself on fire. And I'm guessing the reason he loses the armor and the Jawas pick it up is because he caught himself on fire, probably fucking passed out, and they either stole it off him or he was trying to remove it and while he was on fire and then passed out from the pain. Those are my educated speculative guesses. If we hit on any, like I said, Ewoks, C-3PO. I'll be C-3PO. The rest of you be the Ewoks. All right. I am the god.
There you go.
All right, hold on. Tones gave us a video. I want to click on it, see if it breaks anything.
All right, let's see.
Did it open?
Boba Fett's past come back up. Oh yeah, it's the video where he pulls up the chain code and it's Boba dancing at the Star Wars parade.
I actually think the live stream just dead. Hold on. I'm pretty sure the stream.
Did the live stream explode?
Yeah, I clicked on the link and like the live stream just dipped out for a second. So I guess
it's okay. I think we're still live as far as I can see. We're still live, at least for the moment. But yes, Tones did successfully find the video.
Oh my goodness! I just did it again.
You found the video that has the dancing Boba on the chain code. So
hey,
well
Tones.
done, Tones.
If we're still live, can you just send that link to Discord so, like an asshole, I don't keep clicking on it and crashing the live stream? Thank you.
There you go.
I'm like such a dope. I was like, I know it breaks it, and then I click on it again like an asshole. It's like, what the hell is wrong with me? All right. Okay.
There we go. Investigative reporter Tones finding the scoop.
I just want to watch it, but I can't click on the fucking link because YouTube in Chrome, which is all the same company, okay? It's all Alphabet. Doesn't seem to want to work together. So, Tones, if you're still listening, send that over to our Discord. And if you are new and you're listening, you want to join the Discord, you can find an open invite in our Instagram account's bio link at Star Wars Time Show on Instagram. All right, buddy, before we continue on, you know what time it is. We got to get those nuts on the screen. Here they come. We've got virtual nuts flying at your faces from our friends at Manscaped. That is correct. Hallelujah. It is time for our sponsor. We've got some new copy for you, too. You guys ready for this? Gals? Looking for guys? All right. It's holiday season, and you don't know what to get as a gift or stocking stuffer? Well, today's sponsor, Manscaped, has the tools to guarantee you win this year's stocking stuffer or white elephant competition. Manscaped is a leader in men's below-the-waist grooming, and they have served more than 4 million men worldwide. If my math is correct, that's almost 8 million balls. Get 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com with the code SWTS. That's right. Ho, 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 fellas. Naughty or nice, 'tis the season to perform, and perform you will if you pick up a gift at Manscaped, or if you hint to your significant other that you want a gift from Manscaped. We're talking about the Lawnmower 4.0, do a little trimming for the holidays. If you're cold, you're living in a cold area, you may think that, you know what, I want to keep some of the hair down there. It keeps you warm. No, it doesn't keep you warm. It keeps you stinky. So that's why you want to go to Manscaped and pick up, maybe the Performance Package 4.0, which is going to have the Lawnmower 4.0 right here, the thing I'm pointing to on our set, because it should be at the top of your wish list this year, or gift list if you're giving it to friends and family to shop for you. So inside the Performance Package 4.0, again, you're going to find the Lawnmower Body Trimmer, in our opinion, one of the best trimmers on the market for your balls, butt, and body, and the Weed Whacker, which is an ear and nose hair trimmer. And let's not forget the famous liquidations or liquid formulations from Manscaped that Nick and I have become fans of, and that is the Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant, just put a fresh slather on today before the show, and the Crop Reviver Ball Toner, which, after the show, may give myself a little spritz just to make sure everything is smelling like roses down there. All right, so if you get the Performance Package now, you will receive 2 free gifts in the form of the Manscaped Boxers and the Shed Travel Bag. The dads, we're talking about all the dads out there, can't stop talking about this. The teens secretly buy this, and the women of all ages will love you for it. So now these are our picks for Manscaped Surefire Win Stocking Stuffers. Get your pens and paper out. Number 1, the Manscaped 2-in-1 Shampoo Plus Conditioner. It just launched, and you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. It's right here. I love it. I put it on my little bit of AstroTurf. Makes my head skin smell nice and yummy. Number 2 is going to be your Manscaped Cologne Infused Body Wash, something Nick and I both also use. Number 3, the Shears 2.0 Luxury 4-piece Nail Kit. I believe we have this too, and it does work quite nicely. It's easy to travel. It's in a nice little card deck size package. Number 4, all right, make sure you're still writing these down. You got the crop mops. We have some of these too. When you were a kid and you're worried about acne, you might have bought some of those pads and put alcohol on there to dry them out. Think about doing that with your balls, but not with alcohol, with good smelling Manscaped product juice. Number 5, we have the Manscaped Signature Cologne, which I may honestly have to look into. That is one thing I've not tried out yet. So these formulations, just in case you're wondering, they're all vegan, cruelty-free, dye-free, sulfate-free, and paraben-free. So their products are legit. All right, so make sure to hurry over to manscaped.com to ensure these wild gifts show up before the holiday season. And while you're at it, get 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com with our code SWTS. Whether this is for your partner, dad, brother, friend, get them something that they will actually use, and it's almost sure to get a laugh. Ha ha ha. Get 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com with the code SWTS and be the ballsiest gift giver this year with Manscaped. All right. Thank you, as always, for listening to that word from our sponsors. And, it wouldn't, if not for all of you, we would not have that sponsor. So we appreciate the support you showed us on the show this year, even if it's not enough to make my dark black soul feel like we've accomplished something. It's been enough to make Manscaped happy. So let's keep that up. If you need to grab something, we'd love for you to grab it today using our code SWTS.
Please do.
All right. Do one more shot of virtual balls. See, this is why you should check out the live stream. If you're just a podcast listener, you're missing the virtual nuts that show up on the screen. And no, you sicko.
It's fun.
We're not talking about testicles. We're talking about walnuts. Jeez. Who do you think we are? All right, buddy.
This is a family-friendly affair, as we all know.
All right, Tones has it in Discord, but based on my clicking events, I'm just going to let that sit until after the show at this point in time. But thank you, Tones. Your work is appreciated. All right, man. Up next, Nick. This Rogue Squadron story will just not go away. We're on like week 3 or 4 of this thing, and we are totally beating the dead horse at this point in time. But there was an update.
Hey, the dead horse is the only horse in Star Wars right now.
That's all we got. It's like the only named movie we can discuss, and really until Book of Boba comes out, there ain't squat, my friends. So you get what you get. Don't pitch a fit. All right, so Nick's got this one for us, but there's been an update on the Rogue Squadron Patty Jenkins saga. So, my friend, what is going on now? Are we ever going to see this movie? What is the good word?
It seems like we may actually see Rogue Squadron, but one movie that Patty Jenkins was working on, we may not see, and that's Cleopatra. So, when you think about the amount of work that Patty Jenkins thrust upon herself at this point in time, like she was the director of Wonder Woman 3, Rogue Squadron, and a movie called Cleopatra, which, as the name suggests, would star Gal Gadot as Cleopatra and kind of work in that timeline and tell her story. She's now dropped out as the director of Cleopatra, citing that she needs more time to work on both Rogue Squadron and Wonder Woman 3. She's staying on as a producer for Cleopatra, but she will not be directing. So for Star Wars fans, that means pretty much one important thing. She is now either by direction of Lucasfilm or I mean, that's the big question, is did she choose to do this, or did Lucasfilm kind of lay down the law and say like, hey, I appreciate that you have this story that you're working on here, but guess what? We have a contract. Yeah. We've already announced your movie.
You signed a deal. So, look, right here, the deal, your signature.
Yeah. So you need to come through on that before we do anything else with, pushing forward Rogue Squadron. So she does have more time to work on Rogue Squadron, get everything buttoned up the way that it's supposed to be, that it should be, and hopefully turn in an approved script to Lucasfilm and start filming soon, because
yeah, it didn't.
That's what's needed now, it seems.
Nick, I 100% think this is a PR Band-Aid that her camp and Lucasfilm probably collaborated on. I don't think remotely that this means Rogue Squadron's back on track for 2023. Absolutely not.
No.
I think it was more of like, okay, we're seeing the chatter out there, and oh yeah, we get it. It's the memes, creative differences, Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy. It never works out. It's more of the same. I think this is them just saying, all right, let's try to nip this in the bud a little bit and show a little solidarity here, and just be like, all right, let's drop this now. Let the people know that no, we're not firing her. No, Rogue Squadron hasn't been shelved permanently, but we are working with the talent on a plan to get things back on track.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest takeaway from this. I really do think that the reason for the delay was likely because of the script. If I had to take a guess, there was no filming that was started yet. I don't even think that they have technically started pre-production for it. And given what we saw out of Wonder Woman 84, like, you would have to imagine that there was a lot more scrutiny put on the script than previously.
Now, she wasn't the main writer of Squadron. I believe they hired a writer. I forget the name.
There was another writer.
But I believe it's someone. It's someone she's collaborated with before and potentially on Wonder Woman 84. So to Nick's point, it could still be all the same. Like, all right, we got to make sure to sign off on your vision and that it's meeting our vision before we start dumping in the real money and getting the production up and running.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, I know that it's never fun for, things to be delayed or anything like that. But honestly, this kind of gives me a little bit of hope now that there is more oversight onto these movies. Like, it seemed like with the sequel trilogy, oversight was few and far between, if there was any. Like, there was just a lot of trust
fucking
that was
story
given
group.
to
that story group's the biggest joke in all of entertainment at this point in time because of the sequels.
I know, it's weird. So, like, maybe this is a sign that they're actually like, hey, we're gonna read these scripts, we're gonna see if this is the direction that we want to go with this film. And even though you are, Patty, you are the main person that's behind this, and you are the director, and you are kind of giving story guidance. Maybe they are being a little bit more scrutinous towards the scripts, which is good for us.
Hopefully.
I mean, it's good for us as a viewing public, because that means that, hey, Dave Filoni hopefully that means that Dave Filoni puts a little check mark next to these scripts.
Yes.
And they, then they hit the production phase. But
I mean, let's be real. The man can't write everything. He's in charge of a large wing of the universe right now, the most interesting wing in a lot of our minds. So we can't have him on everything. He can't be like George was. But even then, it's not apples to apples. I mean, George, he was the guy, the maker, just focus on movies. Star Wars is much more than just movies these days. Hell, it's the movies have been the movies have been surpassed. Books. It's the other mediums that are getting the attention versus film these days in Star Wars. So while, the easy answer is, Dave should write everything. That's never going to happen. He can't do it. But I think what Nick is saying, he should have oversight. He should have the ability to provide notes. He should have the ability to reject. And I hope that is coming to fruition. And I believe it is. I mean, they made a point to elevate the guy to CCO, I think a year or two ago, with little fanfare. I mean, no one really knew about it until a tweet, like a year later, like, oh, fucking Filoni is the chief creative officer of Lucasfilm now? Great.
Yeah, very little fan.
Yeah, so I think that was one of their pivots from the disaster of the sequel trilogy narrative, was like, okay, this story group, they're fucking useless. Like, they provided nothing outside of a sounding board that just looked like bobbleheads going, yep, yeah, yep. You want to do that? Okay, all right, yep.
Go for it.
That doesn't really line up with what's happening in the middle movie, but hey, fuck it. Narrative, creative freedom, right? Yep, good, okay. Oh, you're directing it and writing it, but you didn't direct or write the other one? Oh, yeah, that'll work out really good. I'm sure that these artists' visions will line up perfectly, and neither one will want to put their own stamp on it. Everything will be easy peasy. And that failed, and I think that's when they're like, all right, Dave, you're the anointed one. You are the son of the Father. You need to have final say over some of this shit. If anything else, you can't write everything, but you should have final say. And I hope that's the case. I hope that's the case.
Look, if what he's doing now is he's reading the scripts and giving, if that's all it is, read the script, put the check mark on it. I'm happy with it, because I have a very, I know that if Dave Filoni reads a bad script for a Star Wars movie, he's not going to just be like, yep, sure, let it go. No, he's gonna.
It's too important to him.
He'll have notes. Yeah, he'll have notes. He'll say like, "Hey, this needs to change. This isn't right. This doesn't have the continuity with this." Like he knows what should be there and how things should be. So I'm glad that hopefully he does have.
This may sound sacrilegious to some fans, but I think Filoni probably has a better grasp of the galaxy now than the maker himself. That's rough to say, that's fair. But I even think he was getting there while they were working together on the Clone Wars. I mean, there's some weird shit that goes on in the Clone Wars if you watch it, and you know that's probably coming from Georgie boy. But I feel like Dave understood what George wanted without George having to tell him. It's like he could just kind of he could see into the future of like, you know, George, I know what you want. You may not be the best now at directing people to kind of give it to you, but I know I got your back. I will uphold your version of Star Wars as I continue working in this lovely, lovely, far, far away galaxy.
Yeah. So.
All right.
I'm taking it like now I'm taking these delays because I have to as I take video game delays.
Yeah.
And usually video game delays are good things. You know, a game gets delayed, that means that they found something that they need to fix and they want to have it ready to go.
The good thing with this one is no shooting has taken place. This isn't like going to be the Solo mess where you're coming in multi-directors and band-aiding the fuck out of it. So while gaming delays happen during production, they just realize like, listen, we don't have enough time. Like we're gonna release a Cyberpunk if we release this thing. And gamers are used to it at this point. With movies, now, if they were already shooting and all this shit started to happen, even this news, I'd be like, I don't know. I'm still not feeling too fucking hot on this because at one point, everyone was on board to green light the production, and now they're starting to fucking change their minds once they're seeing people work. And that's what happened on Solo. I mean, everyone at Lucasfilm, the story group, KK, Bob Iger, they were all sold on Lord Miller. But once it got down to brass tacks and they were watching them work on set and how many days it took them to film a scene, they're like, just kidding, guys.
Sold no longer.
Get the fuck out of here, and I'm going to get someone in that can actually get this shit shot and done in a timely and a relatively inexpensive fashion.
Yeah. All right, let's hope for the best from Rogue Squadron because... You know, now we know we have at least another year before it comes out. So.
I'm getting used to just not thinking about Star Wars movies anymore. I mean, it's been long enough since, you know, we're now 2 years past the last one. We're getting back to that territory after Revenge of the Sith where you're just like, are we ever going to see a Star Wars movie again? And that's kind of where I'm at. And it's just like, all right, I'm good. We're getting the TV stuff still. Some of the comic shit's all right. I'll survive.
I'm going to say this, and I don't know how people are going to take it. I hope that Disney and LFL get off the high horse and do direct to Disney Plus movies. Because look, I love the silver screen as much as anybody does. I love big screen experiences, but it seems like the D Plus team has their shit handled. You know, it seems like the people who work on content for Disney Plus, whether it be the writers and directors themselves or just the ancillary crew, like the people that are behind the scenes on Disney Plus, their shit is buttoned up and everything that comes out on Disney Plus is good. So like, why would you remove that as a potential medium? And, you know, I'm sure that in LFL and Disney's eyes, if they have a Star Wars movie project that they want to put out, they want to put it out on the big screen for the pomp and the circumstance and the ticket sales. And, you know, look at this billion. We made a 1.5 billion. We, you know, highest grossing movie this year. All that stuff's nice. But like, it seems like the Disney Plus end of things just functions better.
Yeah. I mean, you could argue we're already getting Star Wars movies on Disney Plus. They're just broken up into episodes.
Yeah,
I mean, they're longer than movies. I mean, Mandalorian S1 and S2, if you put them together, you know, we're looking at what, 8 plus 10-hour movies, more than that. So they are technically doing it, just not traditional film. Now, it looks like they're done doing that day and date in theater on Disney Plus, pay us an extra $30 deal. They seem to now just want their movies. What is it? They give them, I think is it 45 or 60 days now, Nick, in theaters, and then they just come right to Disney Plus, and they're freely available to subscribers. I think Shang-Chi was the first one that they did it with, where they gave it a run, I believe, from September all the way until mid-November.
Well,
it was Disney Plus Day was Shang-Chi's arrival on the platform. So I believe it was at least 45 days, if not 2 months. And I think that'll be the model moving forward. So I would assume if they're doing it for MCU movies, they would do it also for Star Wars. But yeah, I mean, that's a point to be made. Will they ever just develop a film for Disney Plus set in Star Wars, or will they stick to the long form series approach, which are still movies in the end? You know, our buddy Tones is like, Saturday I'm going to watch Mando S1 and S2, and he's at this point, since all the content's out, he's essentially watching the Mandalorian movie, the first 2 parts.
Yeah. So
all right,
but there you go. That's the movie news, and then we got one piece of game news for you people, but. It
really wasn't even a lot of.
Get too excited.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a ton of news. It's just we got the first gameplay trailer for Star Wars Hunters, which is this mobile arena
fighter.
It's
like an arena gun, like an arena
like
shooter.
Fortnite with some Overwatch baked into it, but not as big, and it's not battle royale. I know Tones was in here saying it looked dumb as hell, and hey, it kind of does. Did you watch it, Nick? Did you check this out at all?
I did. I watched the trailer. I mean, look.
It felt... I'll let you go, but just to me, the first reaction I have was, you know, it doesn't look terrible, but it feels slow.
Yeah.
The action felt slow to me.
I'm not interested in it. This style of game is just not one that I ever really got into. Like, I was never really into arena shooters. Like, I played Overwatch a fair amount when it first came out, but I haven't played Overwatch in a long time. I was never a huge battle royale fan.
Do you get the Overwatch feel though a bit? Because it does seem very team-based oriented.
Yeah, I definitely get the Overwatch feel from it because of the team aspect to it, and then the different classes that you can play as. Essentially, you can play as, like, you know, some classes are tanks, some classes are damage dealers, you know, healers / support characters, stuff like that. From what we can see, and then you have a little bit of your ability to.
Bro, I have it playing right now, and there's a moment literally between the robot Jedi, which I think is kind of a cool character, and the Wookiee, where they're standing right next to each other, just going whack, whack. Whack, whack. I was like, what type of competition is this?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I'm not a huge mobile gamer. I'll put it to you that way. Like, look, the idea of mobile gaming to me is way more attractive than actually doing it. For example, like, I've been wanting to play a good JRPG for a while. I mentioned that earlier in the show. I haven't picked up Final Fantasy VII remake. But I own it. I just haven't played it. So, like, one of my ideas was like, oh, I'm going to buy Chrono Trigger on mobile, and I'll play Chrono Trigger. And then I did that for, like, I picked it up. I think it was only like $5 or something like that on the Android store. Installed it. I played it for like 15, 20 minutes. So I was like, man, just mobile gaming, like playing like a game on a phone, just doesn't.
It's not the same, man.
That same,
just doesn't.
Yeah,
it really doesn't. And this is another,
especially if it's not, you know, built for the phone initially.
And this, again,
it's the same thing for this.
The theme of the episode is generations, and it's the same thing here with playing games on a phone versus either a console or PC. And I'm with Nick. I mean, games like Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, perfect for a phone. Because they're just tap, tap, boop, boop, bop, right? Playing a fucking shooter with virtual controls, or even using a controller on your mobile device, this is the younger generation thing. I mean, these kids, they're used to living off of tablets and phones versus TVs. I forget, I was reading something, it's like, you know, kids these days, they have no interest in HBO Max, Netflix, Hulu, shit like that. They'd rather watch content creators on their phone, TikTok, YouTube. It's just the way they consume media is way different than us older people. So I don't know, man. I'll be honest. Star Wars Hunters. Let's see what it's going to cost. Is it F to P? What's it going to cost on the Switch? I think the Switch would probably be the best platform to play it on, especially if you're an old fuddy-duddy like Nick or I.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is Switch. If I do get it, it'll definitely be on Switch. And here's the thing is usually games like this where it's, multiplayer only, arena style combat, it's usually like free to play.
Yeah.
And then you get microtransactions for your skins or for unlocking new champions or for whatever else that they can put into the game, like any of the microtransactions is usually where they make their money off of stuff like this. I mean, I could see it like this is the first time that Star Wars has ever really tried to enter a competitive gameplay realm. Like if you can go back and look at the history of Star Wars
Masters
games,
of the Terraskasi, man, back on the PlayStation 1. It was Mortal Kombat Star Wars. I still contend it was a fantastic game, even though it was kind of shoddy. But you are right. A shooter, outside of like some multiplayer modes in the Jedi Academy games, this is definitely unique.
It's definitely unique to the Star Wars landscape. And hey, I don't think that Star Wars is ever going to try to move in an esports direction, like have an actual competitive.
Well, this would be its first foray into it.
Yeah, this would be as close as you get. And hey, like for games like this, and a lot of people thought it was going to happen with Squadrons, that like, oh, Squadrons is going to be this fantastic esports gaming experience and stuff like that. And it wasn't. Like that game died fast. Like for as much as people were like, oh, I love it. It's just so cool, blah, blah, blah. And like everybody knows my opinion on it. I really didn't enjoy it. But like that game lasted maybe 2 months and then it was out of everybody's minds. So, maybe there will be a kind of like a grassroots competitive scene that pops up for Hunters, but it really depends on how much development goes into it post-release.
I don't know,
and
man.
If they're going to release new champions, are they going to release new, people to play and stuff like that?
Well, yeah, does it take the other F2P model and you have seasons and whatnot where they introduce new arenas and what Fortnite I think is moving into chapter 3 or season 3, something like that.
Fortnite and
when
Apex
they do that,
Legends.
I don't fuck with Fortnite at all, but I believe when they enter into a new season, they completely change like the game map and what you can do and the pickups and the guns and all that shit.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, I've been watching this Hunters trailer over and over as we've been talking about it. I think I'm going to give it a shot, mostly because to me it's like a mini Overwatch. It's a more contained Overwatch, and I dig team-based multiplayer games. I don't dig like team-based, class-based. There, let me clarify it. Class-based gameplay, especially for us older fucks, can be a lifesaver because you can get in there and either be a tank or be a healer and actually feel like you're contributing to the win. Versus, last night when I was running around in Halo Infinite Quick Play and I'm taking it up the ass and my KD ratio is like 0.3, sometimes those matches aren't fun. And you sit there and you're like, why am I doing this to myself? Like, why do I like just spawning and having a kid fucking insta-kill me and then teabag my digital face? So I don't know, man. It's Star Wars. If it's free, hey, it's not going to hurt to download, at least try it out and start an account. So I think I'm gonna stay on top of this thing, and you all too can. If you all too can, huh? Okay. Hopefully you understood what I
can all.
Yeah. Hopefully you understood
can.
what my stupid brain was trying to say there. But if you do want to stay on top of it, go to StarWarsTime.net, pull up this article, and hit this official site link. If you're on the live stream, you can see what I'm pointing at. That'll take you to the Hunter site where you can pre-register and get some free bullshit and probably get put on a mailing list that you'll curse yourself for a year from now. But at least you'll be in the know. So there you go. Star Wars Hunters, enter the arena. There's an article on StarWars.com that also details some of the new characters they revealed and their skills and whatnot. But, well, yeah, I think I'm in between Tones and Sir Dork in the chat. Sir Dork's on the awesome side. Tones is on this looks like a pile of shit side. I'm in the like, hey, you know what? It doesn't offend me. It intrigues me slightly. Am I going to sit there and lose sleep over my excitement for it? Absolutely not. But it's Star Wars, and if it's free, might as well download it, see how it plays, and you never know. Maybe one day you will see me in the Esports Hall of Fame as a Star Wars Hunters legend. You just never know.
There you go.
Okay, before we fully get in the fan segment, I got a little trick up my sleeve here. I forgot to tell. I thought I told Nick, but I'm still reading the comic books. I'm just not doing the breakdowns of the singulars because I got zero traction. I'm talking like 20 views on my Vader recaps. The Crimson Dawn stuff I may consider covering on the YouTube again. No, this is not a threat. It's not like, ooh, I'm going to take it away from you all because I know no one gives a shit. This is just me talking to myself, and will I be able to curb my OCD with creating Star Wars content? But anyways, I'm not covering the comics, but I do on the show, when new ones come out, want to recap some of the interesting canon stuff. So we did have Vader 18 dropped last week. Decent looking cover right there. But there's a somewhat juicy canon entry, and that's the fact that a prequel character, and a character that has actually showed up in this Vader run, has been revealed to be a member of Crimson Dawn. So like I'm saying, my friends, Crimson Dawn is the flavor of Star Wars these days. So don't sleep on my prediction about their importance in the Book of Boba Fett. I'm telling you, they are setting up Crimson Dawn to be a major, major fucking player and faction in Star Wars these days, especially Fall of the Empire type of stuff. But anyways, this Vader comic, it just kind of went around. Him and Ochi are testing people to see if they're with Crimson or if they can actually kill Crimson Dawn. And the last page, we end up back on Paulus Massa, the birthplace of the Skywalker twins, and the death location of Lady Nabiri. And it ends with, you see this soldiers in there, and at first the helmet didn't look familiar, but now that I look at it, it's definitely a Naboo style helmet. But we come to find out at the very end that Sabe is still going around kind of following the trail of Vader, because remember that this run started with Vader hunting down people that he thought fucked up his son and made him a pussy, which took him to Naboo, which got him mixed back up with Sabe and Padme's handmaidens. So anyways, we haven't seen her a few issues, and we get her right here at the end of this one, and she's like, oh, she's watching the recording, and like, there's still good in him. I know there's still good. And as the comic ends, the robot says, Sabe, handmaiden of the queen, did you find what you were looking for? No, I'm looking for Vader. Ah, and what will you do when you find him? We'll see, but if you're on the live stream, you'll see she flips up her hood, and who is a fresh new member of Crimson Dawn? Sabe. Okay? So Sabe, a former handmaiden of Padme, has also now thrown in with Crimson Dawn, which, is in league with the Knights of Ren. They've got spies in the Imperial Navy. I'm telling you, they're taking over Star Wars. Prepare for it. Started in Clone Wars Solo, but it's now becoming a major, major part of the Star Wars tale post the original trilogy, and in this case, during the original trilogy, towards the tail end. So there you go. There's your update on the state of Star Wars canon during the OT era. Sabe is now a member of Crimson Dawn and working with Kira. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. And do have a little collectible roundup this week. We got some Book of Boba Fett, Mandalorian, and Star Wars Visions. All got a little love today on today's Bring Home the Bounty reveals. And for those of you that were keeping score, the Black Series Rancor, the Haslab, did fail. I still have found the reaction to this from the community to be odd. It's like, I don't know if their anger is coming from a place of they felt like Hasbro didn't make it enticing enough that people would back it and they'd get it, or if they wanted it to fail because they're mad at Hasbro for a bunch of other weird reasons that only collectors would get. either way, it failed. No one's getting the fucking Rancor. So I guess those that hated it are probably happy. Those that wanted it are probably a little sad. I've never gave a shit about it from the get-go. I've thought the community's reaction to it has been curious, to say the least. It's just like, it's fucking fan funding. If you don't like it, don't fucking buy it. Don't bag it. Why?
Yeah, I would say just...
Why are you like putting up stories like, oh, fucking die, Hasbro, you suck. You should have gave us the Rancor Keeper early. Then we would have got it, motherfuckers. It's like, yeah, listen to the fans. It's like, all right, I get I've gotten angry at Hasbro too, but that's over them fucking not having their own product in stock, not that they put out a Kickstarter that I didn't quite dig. So it failed.
Yeah.
Oh, well, who gives a shit? But we did get some decent stuff today. And I was talking to Nick earlier, and I think I'm at a crossroads in my collector life here. And I'd be interested, either you're in chat or you're listening on the podcast platform, send us a DM. But have any of you ever gone through moments in your life where you don't like your hobby anymore? You like have zero passion for collecting Star Wars toys? And with, in this community, the added passion of taking pictures of them, because I'm there. I am none of these reveals, even today. Like I think this, we got the official Book of Boba Fett Black Series Boba, Nick, and he looks pretty great. I think he's a ripoff as a deluxe figure, but I just don't have that feeling that I'd get, even a year or 2 years ago, where it's like, oh my god, that looks great. I got to get it. I can't wait till I get it. These days, I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, the FOMO is pulling me. Like, I don't want to miss out on the figure. But a lot of that stems from the days when I'd actually take fucking pictures of them. And I don't anymore. It's not that I hate it. I just don't. I
think, too, with these figures, you have so many Boba Fetts that, like, how much excitement can you muster for another fucking Boba Fett?
Right, and he does look completely.
Now it's my 15th fucking Boba,
right. And he does look completely different. But it just, I don't know, man. I mean, again, any collectors out there, if you're feeling what I'm saying, let us know. But I've been sitting on a $20 off Hot Toys coupon that expires today, and I still have Jesse to pre-order and the other one they released, Vaughn, and I'm not feeling that. I'm not feeling compelled to start clicking on Sideshow and ordering it. I got my 501 Battalion hot toy. I got my Rex. I got the Coruscant Guard hot toy, the Shore Trooper hot toy. And some of them have taken me 3 or 4 days to even care about opening. So I think I am heading back to where I was after the prequels, where I just kind of just lost that bug to collect.
Lost the juice. I mean, hopefully 2022 will kind of turn that around, because you'll be getting some new stuff, like some new stuff. Not like, oh look, now it's a new version of Neo Boba Fett that's got some fucking skirt on now instead of pants, or some, it's not just like slight upgrades or like slight differences and shit. Like, you're gonna get hopefully some new looking Kenobi shit, some fucking live action Anakin Kenobi.
Because even this Fennec Shan, which we've known has been out, but today she got like her full glamour shot. It's a great looking Black Series figure. That's the deal. I'm not sitting here shitting on these things. These are good looking figures. These aren't the reskins and the credit collection, all that carbonized dumb shit. They're good looking figures. I just do not feel that pull. Which, I mean, people that have been in our Discord and been listening to us for years is a drastic turn from how I used to be. I can remember a year and a half ago, I was at the beach trying to get in on a pre-order run for some Black Series figures, and I had a fucking meltdown because I couldn't order them. I mean, I was like, like completely unhinged shit. I remember Tones caught me in the middle of it. He's like, Jesus Christ, dude, don't have a heart attack. And that was genuine. Like, I really felt compelled that I had to get these figures. If I didn't get these figures, I was going to die. It was like OCD level stuff, and I just don't give a fuck anymore, especially about the Black Series. I just don't care. And even some of the Hot Toy stuff, I'm looking at my pre-orders, I'm going, what the fuck was I doing? What the fuck did I do these past 2-3 years? Why do I got Kuil pre-ordered and Hot Toy? I'm like, do I really need a fucking Hot Toy of Kuil? Do I?
Probably not.
No. And that just goes back to, when you collect like I used to, is like, got to have everyone the wave, got to have the full wave, got to have everyone from Mandalorian season 1. It's just, I don't know, man. I'm in a weird spot right now, and I don't know if I'm going to go through and start canceling Hot Toy pre-orders or what, but a lot of the stuff they showed today, albeit good-looking Black Series figures, I just am not feeling the draw to order. But we'd like you to order. We got the links in here, and if you do use our links, get a little credit in the old Entertainment Earth bank account. So this new Boba Fett Deluxe, which is silly because the Deluxe is just his weapons and his helmet and his fucking jetpack, which didn't used to be Deluxe for a Boba Fett figure, but these days it is. He goes on sale tomorrow, 1 p.m. East. We got links for you. Fennec, you can pre-order now. Got links for you. The TVC got some great little deluxe sets. Again, I feel like the TVC line is getting better product. You know, his deluxe sets. We got the Stormtrooper with his E-Web. You've got an Incinerator Trooper with Grogu and Flame Effect. That's a cool little package. And then you got the Ahsoka Tano and Grogu, and it even looks like you're going to get was it Maori or whatever the fuck the owl is called?
Bird. Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. It's like, I know Joe's saying, "Welcome to your 40s." I've been here for a while. It's just, I don't know. It is. Maybe it is. Maybe it goes back to the midlife crisis I think I'm experiencing. I am having a lot of come to Matt moments. Like, I've got all these beautiful figures on my desk just sitting here. I have no impulse to shoot them. I can't put them back in I can't put them in the glass cases because I haven't shot them and I haven't gotten over that OCD yet. But the pull to order Black Series is damn near dead at this point, and I don't know why I feel bad about it. I guess that just shows you the level of sickness I have as a collector that believes and subscribes to FOMO. Because there is a part of me still like, if I don't get this Boba Fett, someone's going to take a badass picture and I won't be able to because I don't have them. But then my other little person on my shoulder saying, hello, fuckhead, you don't even take pictures of the figures when you get them anymore. They sit in their box for a few weeks, then you take them out, and then you lay them on a table. So that argument is stupid. Quit buying this shit. Do you see the internal fight here, Nick? It's no fun anymore.
Yeah.
It's no fun.
It doesn't sound like
I want to be like you, and I want to drink in the afternoon till my face turns damn near purple, right? That's what I want to get to.
Oh, I do.
His Nick's face today is like, it's literally moved into purple from his usual flushed red look. He's getting some funky lights from those blinds over there.
I got like half of blind light and then half of internet light. Who the fuck?
All right, up next, Visions got a little love, and this was a weird one, especially if you're a collector. But the Twins episode, the Twins are getting SH Figure Arts figures that are exclusive to Target. That is weird. I mean, it's a Japanese line, I believe. Figure Arts. I've never heard of a Figure Arts figure being exclusive to an American retailer, but here we go. And they're going to cost you $85 a pop. And I don't think these are going to sell well because a lot of people, at least saw in comments, they felt the Twins episode was one of the worst. It was one of my favorite just because of how fucking crazy it was. It was like, crack cocaine Star Wars. I mean, smack. Maybe even, smack with some speed and crank mixed in. I don't know. The girl figure, I'm not going to lie, because she's got that Vader appeal. There's a little bit of me. Like, if I was still crazy, I probably would have went for that. But these days, I think I have enough to say no. And then finally, we got links for those too. And then finally, we got some Funkos. And I will say the Ronin and B556, that's a good looking Funko set. I like that they kept it black and white and did the color splash with the saber. If this is something I still got into, I'd probably be jumping on that one. And we have links for all this stuff. You want to check it out, StarWarsTime.net. But there you go. I still like talking about the toys. I don't know, man. It's a weird feeling. It's kind of goes into this whole black cloud I've kind of had over my head these past few weeks. But it's time for the fan segment, and it's going to be a quicker one than usual because we're running up against the clock and because my dumb ass forgot to post the question of the week to our actual feed. I only did the story, so only
it means we'll get through it fast.
Yeah, I think 3 people replied to the story, so we do not have the full 5 responses to cover this week, but I'll go ahead and pull it up. Again, if you want to get involved in the fan segment, we do it every show because we are willing to do anything to try to trick people into listening to us at least once and then maybe coming back and subscribing. Anything. You know, when you hear your name, we'll put up your picture. We'll say beautiful things about you as long as you pledge fealty to the Star Wars Time Show, all right? So let me get the screen up here. I didn't prep it beforehand, so it's probably not going to work. And we'll do one of these, and then we'll do one of these, and then we'll do one of these. All right. Okay. And I actually think it was a decent question, but like I said, I fucked up.
What?
So the question of the week, what are you most excited to experience in Book of Boba, flashbacks, or Mando timeline events? If you want to get mixed up in the question of the week every Tuesday morning at Star Wars Time Show on Instagram, if I remember, you'll find it in both our stories and in our feed. All you got to do is drop a comment and maybe you will make the show. Okay, so those that followed the assignment and at least replied to the story, up first we have SW Black Series Clips, I think. I can't see the full name.
Clips.
Either way, one of my favorite up-and-coming stop-motion animators, SW Black Series Clips, I believe. Dig the dude's work in stop motion, but he's going with Mando timeline events for sure. Disney/Lucasfilm needs to secure a solid story arc for such an iconic character as Boba Fett. What they set up in this series should spawn story threads for him across several mediums for years to come. It will also give the general audience a better idea of how different Boba is from Din. They're not both just bounty hunters anymore. Well said.
I think that's a good, it's a good way to draw it. Draw some differences between Din and Boba, because I'm sure that casual fans could be confused as to, are they related? Do they know each other well? What's this?
How come he doesn't have the little green guy? His helmet's green.
Magic hand
How come
thingy.
he doesn't have the green guy?
All right. Thank you, SW Black Series Clips. We speak your name. Up next
up,
our buddy Scion, XTC, I believe. We haven't seen him around, but he caught the story, Nick, and he says, I'm more excited to see flashbacks that help flesh out more lore and answer the questions we have since the return of Boba Fett. So Scion's he's an old guard, kind of like myself. I mean, I'm with Black Series Clips. Yeah, let's expand and start new threads, but they fucking owe us some explanations, and I'm sticking to that story. So,
yeah,
I want to see how this man freed himself and what led to some of his changes in his personality.
I agree with Scion as well. I'm on both fronts. I'm a happy medium kind of guy, but we have one more response. Let's see what Ripik Tan has to say about this one. He says, we all want the Sarlacc exit, but if we get flashbacks, it'd be nice to see him being a non-bozo. There you go,
good
Matt.
Listener.
Hitting right at your heart.
He's a good listener.
He says, but I think I'm more interested in Mando timeline stuff, including him reconnecting with characters we know, like other bounty hunters. Let me ask you guys.
Oh, wow, flipping
Boba
it on
had
us.
the same. I know he's asking us a question. If Boba had the same scenes in the OT, but just didn't go into the pit, and was maybe taken out by Luke's saber, dying or barely escaping, do you think he would have become so infamous among fans for the last 40 plus years? So he's asking if he doesn't just bozo his way by a blind guy into the Sarlacc pit and actually dies in combat or is grievously wounded in combat, do you think he would still be as famous as he is now?
Yeah, and I replied to Ripik kind of in our chat because I can't help myself. Like I said, I'm a sucker. I'm a Star Wars narcissist. So anytime ask me my opinion, I'm going to give it to them whether they want it or not. Yeah, I mean, if you watch that Boba Fett documentary, the guy didn't even have to ever make it on screen and he would have been the same legend that he always has been. People went fucking nuts seeing that armor. So I don't think it matters how he went out. It was just the fact that he looked cool as shit, didn't have much to say. That's what created the infamous Fett that fans latched onto. It had nothing to do with how he died or whatnot. I mean, would I have thought he was as big of a bozo? Probably not. I mean, really the bozo classification is 90% from the way he goes out, because he looks like a complete jackass. I mean, it is a complete jackass move. The only way they can really retcon him not looking like a jackass is if they now say that he was drunk as fuck on the sail barge when all that went down, and he was like, "Oh shit, we got a fight going on. Han Solo got out. God damn it!" He's like, flies over, and he can hardly fucking see. He's pissing himself in his armor, and that's how he gets killed by a blind guy with an accidental bow staff move. But Boba, it was the armor. Like I said, watch that documentary. I mean, he's marching in a fucking parade before he's even on screen, and people are going fucking cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Even more so than Vader marching in the same parade. I mean, it was all about that armor. So there you go.
There we go. No, yeah, I agree with you. I don't think it was his manner of death. It was more of like this presence that he put off. This badass with a jetpack shoots fucking...
It's the mystique that Morrison now thinks is ruined because of the Book of Boba Fett. So,
yeah, we'll see.
All
right. So that's the question of the week. Thank you all for responding. And like Matt said, every Tuesday morning, the question will go up on our Instagram. So if you want to get involved, follow us on the IG at Star Wars Time Show. And then on there, you'll see the question pop up on Tuesday before the show. But that's going to bring us to our fan segment of the week, or our top 5 part of the fan segment for the week. And if you want to get involved in that, make sure to tag us in all of your Star Wars artwork that you put up on the IG at Star Wars Time Show on Instagram. Use the hashtag Star Wars Time Show on those posts as well to make sure that we get as much visibility into those as possible. So to kick off this week's top 5, I'm going to tell you right now, I was feeling a little goofy in the top 5 this week. A lot of people put out some fun mashups, some fun different scenes that you can play off of in the Star Wars universe. So a little bit of mashup heavy this week, but it's still a fun top 5. And the first one is from @ToyFanatic on the IG.
Yeah, you definitely want for the more creative, humorous types of setups this week.
Yes,
you do.
Yes.
I mean, you do. I know you do this late at night. Who knows what you're up to? But you tend to get into a theme when you're picking the top 5 these days.
I do. There's, for some reason, like one image will catch me, and then somehow I'll find others within the feed that week that are like related in some way, shape, or form. And we definitely have that in this one. So Toy Fanatic kicks us off, and we have an awesome Harry Potter X Star Wars mashup where Lord Voldemort and Nagini are there in their hideout. You can see some wanted posters in the background. But one thing that we didn't know about Voldemort is that he's really into Star Wars toys, man, especially in those early 90s, right around when Voldemort was coming back. He's got his X-Wing collectible right there. You can see the Death Star space station collectible, the TIE Fighter collectible off to the side, and then some other ones that are a little bit shadowed. But hey, man, even while he's out trying to destroy humanity and take over the wizarding world, Voldemort still likes to open up some Star Wars collectibles.
Well, yeah,
I want to display those in his house.
I went back to Toy Fanatic's original post because he puts a comment which brings a little more light to the scene he created here. And he said, "As a kid growing up, Star Wars was my go-to toy, and until now, it has brought joy and fulfillment in my hobby. I hope Voldemort finds his true joy as well." So he's kind of like, passing on his love of playing with Star Wars toys to a very angry and depressed person in Voldemort, and hoping that it cheers them up when they're holding that X-Wing in their hands. So I love the little props. I'm always a sucker for people that build out sets. I think, as I've said in the past, there's multiple art forms to master in toy photography to become a true Mac Daddy. I mean, obviously, being able to take a coherent image is a big one. But then once you get into the ability to craft sets and scenes with sets, that's where you've reached next level. So kudos to Toy Fanatic here with the creativity and then just the ability to execute it with all those little props. It's very cool.
It is very awesome work by @ToyFanatic on Instagram. Go give them a follow. Next up, another fun mashup scene here from @Intergalactic Raptor. I saw he was in the chat earlier. I don't know if he's still hanging around, but I mean, this is just such a fun mashup between Star Wars and the Muppets. So what you see is Yoda and Grogu and Kermit, and I guess that's another Kermit. There's another.
I could be wrong, but I thought that there was a young frog thing. Kermit? I don't know the name. Okay. I could be completely wrong. It's been a long time since I've really focused on the Muppets, but either way, it ain't easy being green, but this shot sure as hell makes it that much more simple.
I love his original caption is the Yodas and the Kermits getting together for a family fishing trip. The
Yodas and Kermits. I just like the name. It's like, because we still don't know the fucking species, and it's not like they had last names. So it's just the Yodas and Kermits.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's great. The setup is fantastic, as with all of Intergalactic Raptor stuff. So you see it's like a marshland. It could be on Dagobah. They're all four of them sitting on a rock. You have Yoda with a line in the water. Then you have Kermit with a line in the water. He's actually pulling a fish out right now. Then you have other Kermit in the background, like freaking out, like, oh, look at that. He's got a fish. And then little Grogu looking on too as the fish is getting reeled in. I mean, the scene itself is set up so perfectly.
It's Yoda's expression that does it for me. He's looking right at the camera like, how the fuck did I get mixed up in this bullshit? He's like, I was supposed to be on Dagobah training by myself, learning how to become a Force ghost, and now I got to take care of these buttheads. It's just, right? He's looking at us like, what did I do with my life? He's like, where did I fuck up?
So Intergalactic Raptor is still here, and Rick Emmert have both come in and said that Kermit's son's name is Robin.
Yeah, see, I thought he had a name.
There we go.
All right.
There we go.
Thank you for the update.
And Intergalactic Raptor bringing it in. I mean, it's just a fun, super awesome.
It's the same. It's like I said. I mean, look at the little world that was built here. I mean, it looks like a practical little swampy type of thing. They've got their little poles. And if you know how small these figures are, that makes the work even more impressive. I mean, Nick, that Yoda might be 1.5 inches tall. But I mean, look at that. He made a little bamboo pole for it to fish. It's just, I love it. I love the green tones that kind of wash over it. But to me, it's that look from Yoda where he's looking at the camera, almost breaking the fourth wall and going, like I said, how did I end up here? Like, how did my life turn out to this? Like, I'm stuck with these goofball frogs and this little shithead pain in the ass that is eating me out of house and home. Like, what did I do in my life to deserve this fate? So it's good stuff here.
Perfect. All right. So that is @intergalactic_raptor on Instagram. Make sure to go give them a follow. Next up, this is a fantastic piece from @Sean Forney Art. And Sean Forney, again, was in the chat, longtime listener of the show. And I mean, this is like, it's straight out of a comic book. Like, I know
that's
Sean
what he is. I mean, he's
a comic artist. Mm-hmm. But I mean, this is like, I don't know if Sean, does Sean actually does he do like Star Wars comics? Or is he like do work with other brands?
I know he's worked with brands. I don't know if he's ever done something directly for Marvel. Sean goes to a lot of cons and runs a booth and sells his prints. I believe this is something he illustrates for fans on Twitch. But yeah, a lot of times he'll take like a comic book cover and then just go to town and because he does the drawing and the inking, I believe. Like, this is all Sean work. I mean, he, in the comic book land, a lot of times you have someone doing each thing. Someone will draw and someone will color it in. But Sean does it all. And you're right. It's got that comic book, almost animated feel to it. Which makes it stand out. A lot of things we've seen Mandalorian, it says very sharp lines in the helmet and whatnot. There's a little more rounded lines in this piece. But you nailed it. I mean, it's a comic book cover. And it's something like I know Sean personally. He lives in Columbus. I've been to cons with him, ran into him, Celebration, saw him down at the last one. I actually have some of his art hanging up. I've got a badass looking Hulk print hanging up behind me. In the EB days, I helped kickstart Sean's own character and comic book. I think it was the Scarlet Huntress, Sean. Correct me if I'm wrong. But in the comic book, he actually drew in some Entertainment Buddha stuff, like in the scenes of the comic. So it was pretty cool.
That's awesome. Very cool.
But yeah, he's done here.
Sean says that.
There you go. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, he says that he's done some Star Wars shirts for the 501st, so he's definitely worked in the Star Wars space before, at least in the within the fan community. But I mean, this piece here, I don't even know if we described it, but it's basically, it's Din and Grogu standing in the deserts, and they're surrounded by the that famous scene that we saw from Mandalorian season 1, where there are pikes with stormtrooper helmets shoved down on them, and they're Din has his disintegrator rifle out and ready, along with his pistol, and then Grogu's kind of like at his ankles, kind of just holding on to Daddy Din. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's an awesome piece of artwork here by Sean. And
I think he did I know he's either working on one or completed a pretty snazzy looking Ahsoka too. Let me see. There's his Scarlet Huntress. Yeah, here we go. I must have missed this one. Like this Ahsoka looks like you just colored in with markers. I've got it on the live stream. Nick will probably have to catch up to it. That's a good looking comic cover of Ahsoka. Nice vibrant orange punch right there. Yeah, hey, check him out, man. He's a comic book artist, colorist, and illustrator. Upper Deck, Source Point Press, One First, Devil's Due, Counterpoint, Living in the Sea Bus, Sean Forney Art at gmail.com. He also has a link tree. I don't know if he does commission work, but if you want to reach out, he's at Sean Forney Art on Instagram. Maybe he can whip you up something like this. I might have to try to scam one from him. It's funny because one of my real good friends works at the same high school as Sean's wife, and apparently she printed out this print and another Star Wars print of Sean's at work, and my buddy saw them sitting on the printer. I was like, "Oh, motherfucker, Sean just did that. Steal that for me." So I don't know. I don't know if he took it from Sean's wife or not, but I might have to try and secure one of these. So, yep, at Sean Forney Art. Check him out. He's a good guy, and he goes to a lot of the local cons and whatnot around the country.
Beautiful, beautiful stuff. There you go. Next up for the top 5 is one of our favorites. This is at Savvy Art.
I know. I was so happy to see her tagging us again because I don't know. It's weird. Like, a lot of the artists that I've followed and I try to like their stuff to have them come up on our feed, they just don't come up in the feed anymore. I mean, I barely see Daz Tibbles, our boy Devin, and he still tags us, so we see his new work coming out at Super Scoundrel. But Savvy, sadly, if she doesn't tag us, we don't see her shit anymore because of the algorithm on IG. So I was glad that she hit us again here with this Rey in training work of art, real ass paint.
Yes, it's beautiful stuff in Savvy's signature style. So you see Rey kind of in that kind of bent over, preparing to run pose that we see her during her training, her training arc in Rise of Skywalker, Blue Saber ignited. I mean, just the way, like, her illustration style is just so awesome, and it captures the essence of these characters so well, and it has this like Disney feel to it.
Always,
it's just beautiful, beautiful stuff. I have one of her pieces of art hanging on my wall right next to me. And yeah, I mean, this one of Rey, I mean, say what you will about the character's story arc throughout the sequel trilogy, but Rey as a character has always been pretty cool, and I love the portrayals of her from talented artists like Savvy and others. So it's always fantastic to see something like this slide across the feed from Savvy at Savvy Art, SAVVYYART.
I'm still pulling for her to one day be an animator for Disney. It just, it shows you. It's to me, being an artist like this, like Sean, it's no different than trying to be a famous actor. It's like there's so few positions at the top that all these amazing people never really get the exposure, accolades, pay that they deserve. And yeah, I know we portray ourselves as simpletons when it comes to art, but let's be real. I mean, art is art. You look at it and you know if it kicks ass or not. And I mean, her work just kicks ass every single post. And it's just like, why aren't the right people seeing her? Hire this girl. Pay her the money, Kathy. There we go. We put it out there into the universe. Hopefully something will take root. If it does, Savvy, make sure to let us know that we are the reason you became successful and not your own talent, just like we have co-opted with Devin these days. All the success he has achieved over these past year and a half, 2 years are a direct result of being featured on the Star Wars Time Show. And I'm going to leave that story at that. No room for arguments. We did it all. It has nothing to do with Devin's talents. All right. So hopefully
it's all thanks to
Yeah.
There we go.
I mean, Devin these days, he's out like getting steak dinners left and right, hobnobbing with Hollywood elites. I mean, he's working for Cameo now. I mean, the dude's just really taking off. So good for him.
Made it happen. He made it happen.
No, remember,
last one,
Nick, we made it happen.
We made it happen.
Thank you.
All right. Last one in top 5 this week. This is at Electric Dreamer. And this shot, I mean, this is probably my favorite one of the top 5 just because it's so fucking off the wall. So it's literally
Yoda.
It fits the theme. It's Yoda and Mace Windu, and they're both just like high as fuck, leaning up against a tree, potentially on, I don't know where this would be at. Like the forest area of Endor, maybe they just made a stop off at Endor. They're smoking, they're drinking, they're high, they're eating, they're just having a good time, man. They're connecting with Mother Nature.
I'm literally 10 years old. My like humor meter is never gonna go beyond about 10 years of age, but it's just like there's something funny as hell about seeing Jedi Masters get fucked up. And again, Yoda steals the shot. Like look at fucking Yoda.
He's look like just laid out.
I mean, his eyes aren't even open. This dude has smoked the fattest spliff he has ever smoked. He's had one too many IPAs, and he is just cashed the fuck out. Like he's just sitting there like, see shit I do. And Mace is like, what? What'd you say, man? He's like, oh damn, bro, you are fucking high. And he was like, yeah, beer I must drink. It's just, I don't know, man. Like a stoned Yoda, that face just looks perfect. He really does look like he just took a blunt to the head and one too many alcoholic beverages, but he's having a good time. They were probably talking about trying to find the Sith Lord, even though the Sith Lord was right in front of their faces. And now we know why. These two, some of the strongest Jedi of all time, allowed Sidious to treat them like fools. It's because they're out back getting high as fuck.
That's right, man. That's right. So, I mean, this shot, there's so much you could say about this shot, but the only way to truly appreciate it is to see it. So go make sure you go follow at @electric_dreamer on Instagram. I mean, it's just fucking.
It's almost like Mace knows that Yoda is fucking comatose, and he's like, "Hey, man, are you gonna smoke the rest of that joint?" He's trying to cop himself another fatty.
And he has a whole like little script played out too on the post on his IG. So make sure you follow so you can go read the script. I'm not going to read the whole thing here, but definitely go read it on his.
Yoda could be one of the best mascots for stoners of all time. Like you just look at the shot.
Right? Yeah.
This guy, I mean, he looks like someone that smoked a ton of dope. Him and Gandalf.
Oh man, it's just, dude, it's fucking great. I fucking love it. So at @electric_dreamer.
That's what I look like on the weekend nights, essentially. Yoda right there.
I feel it. Same.
I just love it. Love all of you and your warped senses of humor. I mean, really, that's why I still go through the toy photography community, even though I really haven't done much myself this year. And I mean, hell, I don't think I've had a shoot in over a month, but damn, Some of you motherfuckers and the way you think and then your ability to execute it with your figures, it's just beautiful. And that's why we do the top 5 on the Star Wars Time Show.
Here we go. And that's the end of the top 5. And that's the end of our show for this week. So, Matt, take us home and draw us in with a nice little dance.
All right, here we go. I'm shaking it this time. Maybe here I'll do the Terry Crews, get the pecs jumping for you. And why are they jumping, Nick? Well, that's because we're going over to StarWarsTime.net, the home base of the Star Wars Time Show, where you can find all of our content and, more importantly, all of the links that we need you to click on to make us feel popular. So if you go to StarWarsTime.net and you hit subscribe to podcast, that's where you can find all of our platforms. And trust me, we're on all the important ones. If we're not, as I've said before, you're just using the wrong platform. Get on the ones that we're on and you'll be good to go. But in all seriousness, if you have not subscribed to a podcast platform, even if you just like the live stream, we'd ask you to go out to preferably the Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Like the show, follow the show, and then if possible, rate and review. Let's try to get those iTunes, I know it's not iTunes anymore, but the podcast ratings up on Apple. I think we're at 37. I'd love to get that into the 60s, if not 100, because that is how we will start getting new fans. Because clearly, we have sucked the toy photography and our own friends dry. They're here, they've been with us, they support us, but we need to expand beyond the Instagram crowd. As much as we love you diehards, we need to start bringing in some of the casuals. And the only way to do that is for all of you to keep promoting, outside of Instagram even, talking to friends, family, and other lunatics that you may think might enjoy this show. But the other way is through tricking the AIs out there that control the internet, like the Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify. Because no joke, if you apply a rating and even if you drop a little review, a little cherry on top, that will go into the calculations the next time someone searches good Star Wars podcasts, silly Star Wars podcasts, angry Star Wars podcasts. You never know, you might get the SWTS pop up at the top of SERPs. And we can't do that without your help. So please, StarWarsTime.net, spread the word, get people subbing. Even if they don't like the show, just have them sub. Go on your wife's phone and account, your kid's phone and account, start subbing to the podcast on their devices. When you're done doing that, stay on StarWarsTime.net and scroll down a little bit and sub to YouTube. Do the same thing. Grab your family and friends' devices and sub for them, even if they do not want it. It's okay. We will not tell on you. And if you are a YouTube listener, just make sure, even if you're listening right now, like the stream today, leave a comment, share it, turn on notifications if you're not subscribed. If you're not subscribed, shame on you. All right? Don't make me say it again. Slap yourself, I don't care where, preferably somewhere in the groin, and then subscribe on YouTube. We always like to see those come in. And as I said earlier, it'd be really nice over the next month or two to get the show to at least 1,000 subscribers. I think we're at like 894. So if you can go on your personal socials, again, I know it's hard to ask, but I think we've tapped out the IG community. So start blaring it out other places that you might be vomiting up your social thoughts. Because there really is always time for Star Wars time, even if there's no fucking Star Wars to talk about. But Nick and I have proved week in and week out, over 191 episodes, that there truly is always time for Star Wars time when you're listening to the Star Wars Time Show. And don't forget, if you do listen to us two assholes, the Force will be with you. Always.